only thing we have to
Beer.
is
Beer.
itself.
Beer. So many choices.
Only no function beer well without.
Woohoo! Beer! Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Busters. We're going to bring you the news and reviews, of course, of your favorite brews. My name is Dan Baker, and I am joined by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner,
and of course the demented and fermented
Wayne Baker.
It's taken us 6.5 years to finally get somebody from this brewery on the show, and not only do we have the man himself behind this wonderful brewery, we have a fun rotating panel of guests, 3 of which are at the table. Now, this episode is at Victory Brewing, the original location, Downingtown, Pennsylvania. Ashamed to admit, I've never been here.
What?
I've been to Parksburg.
How is that even possible?
You forget I worked retail up until this year.
I'm
So
here all the
nights
time.
and weekends didn't exist for me. But Lord knows I've had plenty of Victory beers in my life. Now, at the table, as I said, we do have 3 people with us. Normally, I can see you guys, and I can motion to you to introduce yourselves. So I think we're going to go roll call, starting with...
So I'll kick things off. Bill Kovaleski, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. Next up...
My name is Bobby Zwan on the green mic here.
On the green mic.
Senior designer at Victory Brewing.
All right, and last but certainly not least...
Justin Grilly on Orange, fanboy.
Fanboy.
A.K.A. Hype
Fanboy.
Man.
That's a good position to have.
We should clarify. He's not an Orange fanboy. He's on the Orange
The
mic.
Orange mic.
And he's a fanboy.
Yes. For those who don't know, we have color-coded pop filters for our mics. And if anyone's wondering, I'm blue, Steph is pink, Wayne is on the black
I'm
one.
black. I got the old school.
Bill's on the yellow one, and now everyone is filled in. This is great. Everyone out there in podcast land knows what color microphones we
I think technically I have Prima Pills yellow.
Ah!
Oh, I
very
like
nice.
it. I think that's going to be official from now on. That's going to be
I'm
the,
okay with
the
that.
Prima
Oh,
Pills
me
mic.
too.
Yeah, definitely.
And I was going to say later on, Prima Pills is one of my favorite beers on this planet. I love it so much.
Yes.
I've never had a bad Victory beer. That's just, there is no such thing as a bad Victory beer.
Well, we made Prima Pills for you, actually, Dan.
Yes.
We made it for Ron and myself, and then you. So we were thinking of all 3 of us.
Dan, that's
I'm
also
honored.
a little special. That's a slow pour Prima Pills.
That's, yes. You guys were kind enough to start us off with some sipping beers. Mine is the slow pour Prima Pills, and it had a very fantastic head on it. I took a real good selfie with it, and I think it's the best selfie I've taken of myself ever. What else would you take a selfie of? Selfie of myself.
The best selfies. The best selfie.
Well,
Best selfie.
2 heads in a selfie are better than 1.
Oh,
Hey!
but nice.
There we go.
If we're exclaiming what beers we're
Yes,
drinking,
please.
I'm, of course, drinking the Helles. We all started with some nice, clean drinking beers to get the podcast rolling.
There's no better way.
And I have the cool Kolsch.
Yes.
Oh, good choices.
Very,
Thank
very
you.
nice.
Thank you.
Now, for those of you out there that are in the podcast land listening to this is beaming directly into your ears, don't forget, you can follow all of the goodness that we have. You can see all the pictures that were posted from this recording on our Instagram, on our Twitter, at BeerBusters. Facebook, we are BeerBusters Podcast. Don't forget, there's BeerBustersPodcast.com and Patreon. Patreon.com/BeerBusters is where you can get a fun, fancy, not free, behind-the-scenes look.
That alliteration failed you
It
halfway
did.
through.
It did.
It was a valiant effort.
There was only one other F word I could think of, and I'm not going to say it yet.
It's a valiant effort. But yeah, check out Patreon. I am really excited. As of this recording, I haven't actually edited the video yet, but I'm about halfway through the punishment video from Rebel Hive, the meadery we were at last episode, when a bird flew into the building. It's
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty. The punishment itself isn't all that exciting, but the bird shenanigans were pretty cool.
Yes, and there will be a punishment for this episode for the unfortunate loser of the Happy Fun Time game, which we have yet to figure out exactly who will be on for it. But for the guys at the end of the table, whoever loses the trivia game has to endure a punishment in our last call segment. So fair warning.
Well, that's, makes a whole lot of sense when it's a happy fun game and there's a punishment.
Of course.
Well, see, the thing is, we don't have a budget for prizes for the winner, but we can dig up some crap for the loser to
Is
have
it cool
to
that I'm
endure.
playing to lose?
That's fine too.
All right, cool.
That's
Just
fine
making
too.
sure.
Does it involve a tattoo?
It does not involve a tattoo.
Oh, it should.
I will say at this point it involves combining 3 different beers that we have brought along with us.
Yes, and we will divulge details in Happy Fun Time game.
We'll get there. But yeah, if you want to check
Reminds
out
me of college.
if you want to check out
Exactly.
all that behind the scenes action, don't forget to go to patreon.com/beerbusters.
Yes, indeed. Now, this is normally the part of the episode where we would start doing the news. but for multiple reasons, I don't have any stories. But the biggest reason of which is because there's just so much to talk about when it comes to Victory beer. Because there's a very storied history, goes back currently, 23, almost and a half years, if I'm doing the math right, at least for the opening.
That's correct. We're in our 23rd year.
That's awesome. February 1996. That's the start of, at least when Victory opened up. Now, this was the original location?
Yeah, we're in the original location here in Downingtown.
All right. How far before that opening does the story of Victory go?
Well, I guess the original beginning would probably have been in my home in Baltimore, Butcher's Hill, on New Year's Eve of 1993, sliding into 1994, when Ron and I had a whole lot of Chimay red and blue and our wives. And I think we were on bottle number 5 when we asked them if we could begin writing a business plan to form our own brewery. So I think strategically we had the right amount of alcohol deployed. They asked a few thoughtful questions, and they said, yeah, sounds like a good idea. We'll give you 3 months.
That's awesome. I like that you asked the permission even after you guys had been drinking, especially on a holiday. So you guys had the idea to form Victory then. Was that the original name of the brewery? Or were there any others that you had thrown around?
That's a great question. It was not the original name of the brewery. We hit a speed bump, a fairly major speed bump, in the spring of 1995, I guess it was. We originally intended to be Independence Brewing Company. We knew we were going to be somewhere in the Philadelphia vicinity. Having studied in Germany, we thought that we could liberate import quality beer in America. And we felt that would be a victory for American beer. Kind of a lofty idea, but at the time, that's where the beer industry was, and we wanted to take it further by going backwards and really sort of digging into what European beer could offer. So we wanted to call ourselves Independence Brewing Company. We were soliciting shareholders, friends, family, aunts, and uncles under a business plan named Independence Brewing Company. And then we got a cease and desist letter from Independence Brewing Company.
Oops.
Yep. But 1994, pre-internet, right? Even though I had done a USPTO search of trademarks and things, you just weren't aware of these other possible conflicts. So when Ron and I got the cease and desist, we were still working for our employers, myself, Baltimore Brewing Company, him at Old Dominion Brewing Company. We were running out of aunts and uncles to call to solicit, shareholders, and we had no concept, no name. And one of us made the comment, dude, this will be a victory if this thing ever happens. And soon thereafter, within maybe the next 2 weeks, I saw the Teddy Roosevelt quote, far better it is to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumphs, even though checkered with failure, than to take rank with the poor spirits. They live in the gray twilight that knows not victory nor defeat. And
you've said that before.
I was going to say.
Isn't that quote painted on the wall?
It's painted on the wall, but Wayne, thank you for that. I think it's the first time I actually got it right.
Yes.
I'm duly impressed.
But anyway, so to us that was a sign that we should press on. We should not give up. And we did.
So I just want to say this. 2 things that we've heard a lot on this podcast, visiting breweries, was it was a drunk idea I had with my friend that we actually did, and we got a cease and desist letter. But you did it back in the early 90s, so you were pioneers of that, because I feel like that's 2 milestones in pretty much every brewery we've ever visited.
Yeah, no, those are great observations. And yeah, we were early, but there was 640 breweries in the United States when we started writing our business plan. So we actually just thought that making European quality beer fresh in America was a valid concept. And obviously our wonderful fan base, our customers, have given us a lot more opportunity over time. 2 really cool things happened. Chef Jeremy is within sight, and Chef Jeremy has a delicious-looking plate of what appears to be lobster rolls.
Ooh.
Should we welcome him, or should we deny
if
him?
he brings food, I feel like we should definitely welcome him.
Yeah.
1 second, he says.
Yep, 1 second. I don't think I've ever actually had a lobster roll.
That
Really?
is bananas.
I did, well,
Today is a night of firsts.
Here's the thing:
for
I
Dan.
am fairly new to the world of seafood. For the longest time, I didn't like it, and then I always like tuna salad and fish sticks. I know don't count, but I always like them. And then salmon steak, I had bass when I was in Canada, and then crab entered the picture, and now lobster. This is exciting.
This is going to be transformative for you.
Yes, yes, it will. So, Bill, I know you said the story of victory was, you said 93 into 94 that
Yep.
you had the idea to do it, but the brewing history goes before that. So you and Ron have both had very extensive brewing backgrounds, and if I'm not mistaken, what I saw on the website was that you gifted him a homebrew kit at one point for Christmas?
That is correct.
All right.
Christmas of 1985, I gave Ron a homebrewing kit because I had adopted my father's. My father always used me as his assistant for all of his home projects, and he was a consummate pickler, canner, gardener, sauerkraut maker, and he set his sights on home brewing back in 1979. And so I was, again, an assistant. And then when I graduated college in 1985, I had a different perspective on beer. I found it a lot more interesting and started brewing.
Can't imagine why.
Yeah, and I gifted Ron a kit, and he found it very interesting too, fortunately.
That is awesome. I was gifted a homebrew kit at one point as well, and now
Well-
I listen. I understand it was a Mr. Beer kit, and the beer was it was a quote American Light was the style of beer, but it just goes to show gifting somebody a homebrew kit could lead to great things.
Or really bad
Or
beer.
really
Or really bad
things.
things, which is what happened with me. That's
Dan's
why I
case-
stick to talking about it instead of making beer.
In Dan's case, it led to really bad
It
beer.
was terrible. It was fucking awful.
Didn't we drink that at our 100th
We did.
anniversary?
We did.
We drank
How-
Dan's
100th
anniversary.
Our 100th episode.
Holy shit, you look fantastic.
I know, right?
Yeah, she's
You're
a vampire.
so sweet.
It's all the lagers we drink.
We age backwards.
Makes sense.
So I just want to say it's really cool that you started out sort of focusing on that German really style of beer, and Victory. When I think of Victory, that's what I think of. I think that you are one of the breweries that has kept that sort of old school traditional style of brewing alive and kept it cool, even while you innovate and do the newer styles and the more trendy styles that have come along. But sitting here drinking a Helles, drinking a Pilsner, that's what I think of when I think of Victory.
I've said this story a million times on the show, but now I get to actually tell it to Bill Kowaleski. Every time I've ever gone to Germany and come home, I've never wanted to drink American craft beer because I've craved German beer so much. So this is where I would always come.
Wow.
I would always come to Victory to get me over that hump of missing German beer.
Is it okay to clap on microphone for that?
But it's so true.
Definitely.
Wow.
It's a fact, and I've told this story many times. But and that's the one thing I love about being from this area and living in this area is there are so many craft breweries that embrace German styles and still make them to style and really respect them. And I'll drink pretty much anything, but at the end of the day, a good German lager is seriously the best thing you can drink, in my opinion.
Yeah, Steph, you have no idea how much that means to myself to hear that you would come home from Germany and want to drink here. And I guess it really makes me reflect on the fact that as brewers, we make liquids, we make fermented beverages, but really what we're making is memories.
Yeah.
And we have an opportunity to freeze time and let people, think about what they're enjoying and reflect on every aspect of that moment. And that is really a wonderful opportunity and gift that you as a customer and everyone as a customer gives us.
The memories I like, and to be honest, I can remember where I was, I think, the first time I had a Victory beer. I can remember one of my favorite times having Prima Pils. First time I had Victory, I think at all, was PYT. May it rest in peace. Wonderful burger joint that used to be at the Piazza at Schmitz in Philly. We went for trivia one night, and Golden Monkey was the special for pitchers. And I didn't know the Golden Monkey was 9.2%?
Bye-bye.
And that night ended very differently than I thought it would. But I still love that beer to this day.
Well, Dan, we make memories and we also erase memories.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a good way to look at it.
Very true.
Well, we mentioned him earlier, but we do have a newcomer to the table, the man who's kind enough to bring some food.
Hey, guys.
What looks to be delicious lobster rolls. Chef Jeremy, how are you?
Great. How are you guys?
Doing fantastic. Thank you for having us out here, for being so hospitable, and for bringing those wonderful-looking items with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about what you guys are about to eat.
So we've mentioned it is lobster roll, it looks like.
Yep.
Why don't you tell us what goes into this particular lobster roll?
So it's a traditional preparation of lobster roll with our own unique spin on it. We have local buns, and we got to make a cool Cloudwalker aioli out of the Cloudwalker Hazy Juicy IPA. It has citrus notes. It goes really well with the lobster. It's North Atlantic lobster, all claw, knuckle meat. Really pretty tasty by itself, but it gets to... It's really complemented nicely by Cloudwalker. It's exciting to have a new beer like Cloudwalker around to play around with it and really tie it into recipes. The Cloudwalker aioli itself is in a couple of our recipes that we utilize every day here on our menu. So it's a nice showcase of how we get to cook with it, how it's part of our prepped item. And it's fun this time of year to really kind of do something unique with a lobster. But I'm excited for you guys to try it. Let me know.
Yeah, Jeremy, definitely. Is that a buttered potato bun?
It is indeed a buttered potato bun.
Gotta have that.
Gotta have the buttered potato bun. All right, let's play
dig in, guys.
Some plates around.
Let's do this.
So we're going to try and slide these within reach.
Look at that. Jeremy, you were not at the table when I foolishly mentioned that I don't think I've ever had a lobster roll in my life.
Oh, okay.
I'm new to seafood. I gave away the progression of how I got into this, but I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I think they're pretty agreeable with just about anybody who doesn't have a shellfish allergy, so hope you'll like it.
I'm going to let Rich eat mine.
Oh, how noble of you.
It's a really stuffed lobster roll, so I think there's a lobster per roll. That's amazing.
There is a lot of meat in those, yeah.
It's a pretty looking sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Can you call it a sandwich? There's so much debate these days about what is a sandwich and what is not.
Really depends on who you're talking to, yeah.
So as a chef, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Well, that's where I was going with this.
I don't. Probably not.
All right, fair. I feel like you have authority on the issue.
I think you can call it a sandwich if you put ketchup on it.
If you put ketchup on it, regardless of what it is.
Are we putting ketchup on this? Is that what's coming of this? Because I don't want to do
How
that.
dare you?
No ketchup on this.
All right, good.
Well, first of all, I'm curious, Dan, how was your first ever lobster roll?
I think I eat seafood now.
Oh, look at that. Good job, Jeremy.
Awesome.
And now I want to hear how it pairs with the beer.
So, as Jeremy pointed out, we've obviously got the Cloudwalker in the aioli, as Jeremy pointed out. The Cloudwalker is, sort of stylistically evolved from the New England IPA, and I think that was his muse in going in this direction with a New England-style dish. Definitely there is a lot of fruity characteristics to where we were heading with the Cloudwalker. And we went with Citra and Mosaic hops. The malt base actually includes flaked oats and wheat. There's a little bit of lactose to give it that nice silken mouthfeel. So it's a really soft, smooth beer at 6.8% with a huge fullness of hop character and juicy oils as far as what we were pointing it towards. And I think that, and Jeremy, please jump in if you think differently, but, lobster, as clean and pristine as it is, also tends to have a nice fatty quality to it.
Oh, definitely. It's very rich in flavor, and it should balance nicely with the Cloudwalker. It's a strong... You could drink the beer by itself, but at the same time, it's nice to wash it down. The lactose notes are really helpful with the smooth, rich flavor of the lobster as well.
And I like how the sort of sharp hop character really cuts through that buttery fattiness.
Yep.
It's really nice, kind of cleans your palate, makes you want to go back for another bite.
Wayne, have you done so far with this, the Greg Orth method?
I have not.
Okay. So for you guys, down at the end, we every year do a Valentine's-ish episode with a guy who runs a company called Craft Tastings. He does beer and food tastings, mostly chocolate originally, but has done other things. But his whole thing was you take a bite of the chocolate or whatever the food is in this case, get the flavor base of that, sip the beer on its own, get the flavor base of that, and then take a bite of the food, and then have the beer and kind of swish them both around your mouth. I did that with this, and it's one of the best flavors I've ever had in my life.
Awesome.
It is incredible.
That's great to hear.
Also getting 2 thumbs up and eyes popping out of his head from Rich. And this is the man that when we were in New England for a week, every single meal he had a lobster roll. Oh, no, he had 1 clam roll. Every other rest of them was lobster rolls.
Major 2 thumbs
So,
up.
yeah.
He's really digging it.
He's our food connoisseur here.
I think you just cut off somebody's hand to give a 3rd thumbs up, too.
Very good. So good. So being a chef at a brewery, I mean, being a chef is exciting, but I have to imagine, especially when there's new beers coming out, the idea of being able to play around and the challenge of coming up with something that pairs with the new beers, that has to be a really fun endeavor for you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, every new beer is a totally new challenge. We're not limited or held back creatively from any one style of cooking, which is perfect. A lot of beer cooks way differently than wine, so to think years ago when I started here is really like relearning how to cook with alcohol. But you'd be surprised at how little beer is needed or used in a variety of recipes when it comes to, this aioli, or we could deglaze an entire thing of strawberries or fruit with just a little bit of sour beer. And that really comes down to the variety of beer. So you'll see some different unique things, but this is a somewhat new beer for us, definitely a victory, which made it really exciting to use. And we make a lot of the aioli alone as a dipping sauce, but then to think, thanks to you guys coming out here, I probably wouldn't have even thought of getting in some lobster and taking a chance, but we're selling it right now, and people are actually really liking it. One day,
sounds like it's a home run.
Yeah,
so.
It's been on our chef selections for all of 6 hours, and they just grabbed the backup pan of it. So hopefully people like it.
Now, Bill, did you guys feel the pressure from the current craft beer world that you had to have some sort of hazy IPA on the menu?
Our entry into the hazy, juicy IPA thing was a little bit longer than some breweries. Realistically, when Ron and I wrapped our heads around the first entrance in the New England IPA thing, our German training sort of biased us to saying, well, this is flawed beer. This is beer that's coming out of the fermenter too early, and the virtues of that silken mouthfeel is just a whole lot of yeast load. So we didn't necessarily warm to the concept immediately, but as it started to evolve, we recognized that there were new pathways to envision this hazy, juicy seduction that the beer style represented in its rustic early form. And at that point, we realized it was something we wanted to jump into with both feet. We send crews out to both the American and the German hop harvests every year. So we are in touch with the best hops from the best growers. So any liquid platform we can find to showcase, the hop selections and the hop varieties that we can access is a valid one for us. So yeah, we jumped in with both feet with Cloudwalker.
And I love that this beer is shelf stable. So many New England IPAs or hazy IPAs that are released, you must keep them cold, and you have to drink them within a certain number of weeks or they taste like crap. And so it just shows you that you can still create a solid product, a shelf-stable product that can still highlight these beautiful hops and give you that haze that people are craving. So I actually really like this beer, and I'm usually the one that's like, keep the hazy IPA away from me. I don't want it pass me the lager. But
this kind of takes me back to like the origins of the style, like the Vermont, like the heady topper and the focal banger, and like that sort of like when the style first started before it got pushed to this frankly ridiculous extreme that it's gotten to. This is very drinkable. It showcases the hops very well. It's not orange juice and black pepper, which so many of them taste like.
Yeah. I think I kind of compare it to me personally. I every time a new iPhone comes out or a new update comes out, I usually wait maybe 6 months, and I think a lot of the beer haters kind of say like, well, you guys are so late to this. Come on, let's go. I think we wanted to make it right.
Yeah, it's a good observation. I really appreciate all the observations I've heard here. I think that, to your point, Steph, about it being shelf-stable, from a brewery of our size, serving 35 states and 5 countries, yes, that's part of what we have to do. We have to deliver a superior customer experience, sometimes far from home. And we take that job very seriously, and we apply all of our skills and knowledge in order to do so. So, maybe in its initial form, it didn't really suit our brewery, and now we found ways to enter into it and do it right. So I appreciate the things you've said about it.
And it doesn't hurt when there's lobster on the table, right?
That's true. It never hurts when there's lobster on the table.
So we have the graphic designer here. I kind of want to talk about the label as well. There's some sort of like World War II-esque aircraft. I could be off on that, but
A little bit. It's a balsa wood glider, so it's
one of those.
It hits a little bit of some nostalgic notes. We got a juicy branded on the wings with another hop branded on the right wing, and then we have a nice little 96 that takes us back to the year Victory was conceived. So,
what was the inspiration for using that image of the glider?
Usually when I kind of start researching any concept, I always look for, a couple things that tug on the heart. What we wanted to do, especially with the mouthfeel, that light, almost effervescent mouthfeel, I thought it was a perfect image to go along with the beer and complement the beer as well. You're wisping away into the clouds, the hazy.
Right. And as a hazy IPA, it's like a 25% chance the word cloud's going to be in the name somewhere.
Yeah, cloud.
So a plane makes sense.
Cosmic.
Yeah.
We can go. Yeah. We can go on for a date.
So Jeremy, while we have you here, I know that being the chef and being Friday night, you're probably going to have to do some work at some point.
Yeah.
Well, can you share a little bit of your background with us and how you ended up here at Victory?
Sure. So I came to Victory about 4.5 years ago. I commuted from Philadelphia, and I grew up in Pennsylvania, so obviously knew a decent amount about Victory. However, the first time, I got to tell you, when I drove into this parking lot, I thought I was in the wrong area. I thought I made a wrong turn or my GPS was out of date, and I wasn't from Downingtown or familiar with the area. And really, there was just something about it. I mean, the company itself reminds me, I work in a kitchen with, kitchens most of the time have this huge turnover rate, and I work next to people who've been here almost 20 years.
Wow.
And when I came here, I was far from even reaching tenure of most of our line cooks. So it's pretty cool to see that. Obviously started drinking beer. I feel like when I came in, I drank a lot of IPAs, typical probably of a young, guy living in Philly with a bunch of craft beer. Mm-hmm. And I got to learn kind of the skill involved with making a lot of the Victory beers that they were known for. To say Prima, won me over is an understatement. I think for 4.5 years, I've either drank a Prima or a Braumeister, depending on my mood, every single day that I've worked here. So cooking was another story. I started out trained as a sous chef under a couple chefs, got to go travel to the Kennett Square location for about 9 months to help them. At one point, went out to Parksburg even, and ended up, as fate would have it, ended up coming back to Downingtown as, a couple months later, the opportunity to be the executive chef would open up. And I took it. That was about 1.5 years ago, and it's been amazing. It really has. I mean, I owe a lot to the company and to Bill and Ron for the opportunity to even work here, and for a company that, most kitchens, you'd be lucky to say you have a benefits and a company that takes care of you,
right.
and they really do. So from then on, it was just about the food, learning the food. 6 Point and Southern Tier obviously brought totally new elements to the table. To think I've got the chance to go out to Pittsburgh to show them how to roll pretzels over 1.5 years ago. I mean, it's such a cool opportunity involved with this, and we have huge community events with Fall Fest every year and starting new ones all the time. It's pretty exciting. This is also one of the busiest restaurants in Chester County on a restaurant scale, but we're a tap room, so we handle it in stride. It's been pretty great, though.
One of the most exciting things about, I think, especially this location, and maybe I'm biased because I come to this location way more than any of the others, but the food menu seems to always be evolving. There's always a few of those staples, like you can always rely on. There's going to be some sort of like nachos or like
Definitely.
a good burger on there or something. But there, especially, I'm a vegetarian, so
Okay.
I like, I don't like to go to a place where my only option is a veggie burger,
Sure.
and that's not the case here. There's always something new and something exciting, and it is way more. It's a full package experience when you're here. You don't just come for the beer or just come for the food. It really is a full experience, and that's why I think it's always so packed here and so busy, because people come back for that experience. So I love you guys do, like you mentioned, the chef specials all the time. That's the first thing I always check on my phone when I know we're going to be coming here. What are the chef specials? What's on there? And
there's a created daily. Me and my team put a lot of effort into tying in new beers, testing out what could go on the potential menu. I think it's something to say that Bill and Ron, who both studied in Germany and have done their, let's say, pretzel homework, so to speak, mastered this pretzel years ago. Our other guest speaker has tried to bribe me into giving him the secret pretzel recipe for years, actually.
Shut him down.
And it's pretty cool that is the exact same pretzel that they mastered that long ago. Now, when you said you're a vegetarian, I hope you'll be able to enjoy this dish. This is the next one that you'll get to enjoy is paired with No Brainer IPA.
Ooh.
So it should transition from the cloudy IPA to a straightforward daily driver type of IPA, but pun intended, it is your superfood salad with your No Brainer vinaigrette.
Oh, I like what you did there.
Yeah, so it's all seasonal vegetables. It's walnut and fresh berries from New Jersey, and this is another dish that it gets to showcase something that you can find on our daily menu. It's the No Brainer vinaigrette, and came out when we got our new beer. Fits pretty perfectly, and the kale itself gets macerated in it for up to a day, and it really makes that fiber softer on the kale. The walnut and strawberry add a little spice and sweetness to it.
So it really actually totally excites me to know that my beer can make kale even better. It really.
How long did you have it in the kale?
It macerated for about 12 hours.
First of all, I love that word, macerated.
Yeah.
But no, that's so perfect because you still get the crunch.
Oh, yeah.
But you're right, it's not as like...
Right, it makes it more enjoyable.
I don't know what word to use for that face I just made that our listeners won't be able to see.
Well, it's soft. It definitely makes it a softer... Because it's such a hard...
It's soft, but it doesn't make it like gooey.
Right.
You know, like if you cook kale and then it becomes all like slimy and gross.
Right, exactly. It's definitely not roasted. There's no... To say the only cooking involvement was the maceration, the care goes into the vinegar, the citrus in the vinaigrette, which honestly you'd be surprised. You don't have to alter that much from a regular vinaigrette adding or incorporating beer. If anything, you can avoid some seasoning, which is one of the most interesting parts of cooking with beer that I've found is there's so much flavor in the beer itself. You use your traditional salt or pepper or spices much less, and it really brings out the flavor of the food. It's a straightforward IPA. It's a straightforward healthy salad, a little food for thought.
I can't believe how well it pairs with that IPA. When you told me you were giving us an IPA with this salad, I was like, he is freaking crazy.
Well, and you know,
it goes really well.
It's not just trendy to eat healthily, but it is, I think, more and more acceptable within, you know, all age groups and across the board. People want a newer, healthier option when it comes to not just a salad with a meat or a protein on it. And that also, you can't say that the IPA hasn't also been is much more than a trend within the past 20 years.
You know, kale has protein, you know, just saying. I always get that question. How do you get your protein? Vegetables have protein too, people.
I really appreciate the fact that this beer that is so dry, it really just puts the whole flower hops right up there front and center. Beautiful combination of Azeka, Centennial. I mean, they really come together. We've got Mandarina Bavaria there giving us some tangerine notes as well. So, I mean, this actually softening the kale, which can have a bitter edge itself, and then contributing to sort of the citrus fruitiness of the vinaigrette is, well, pardon the pun, but it's a no-brainer how it actually fell into one another. And fortunately, we've got a genius like Jeremy to make these things seem seamless.
Jeremy, do you massage your kale?
Yes.
And sing to it?
You've got to.
While you're massaging
Well, I don't know if I sang to it. Most days I
thought I
hummed to it. Maybe whistled to it.
If you were going to sing to kale, what song would you sing?
It depends on what gets caught in my head.
It ain't easy being green.
So for those of you out there that didn't see his reaction, he actually looked down and hesitated before responding yes to massaging
honestly,
kale.
Last night, I don't know how it got stuck in my head, but the Baby Shark song was stuck in my head.
Baby Shark,
I suppose I did sing to it.
There you
Awesome.
go. There you go. It really is an excellent pairing, though, and I like how you said that the beer kind of allows you to broaden the spice,
Yeah.
because I feel like it's very savory, it's very soft, and then you have the IPA with it, and it kind of gives you a little sharpness, almost a little saltiness that complements it really nicely. Yeah,
cool. Well, I'm glad you guys like it.
And an amazing IPA, a clear IPA, which I appreciate.
Yeah, the No-Brainer is a relatively new addition for us. I mean, the IPA style has been evolving like mad. Early on, Hop Devil was sort of a landmark creation, this whole notion of like, hey, we're going to take an English style and we're going to go at it with German two-row malts, and we're going to add whole flower American hops. And, it landed squarely between the eyes of the public as this landmark creation back in 1996. But time marches on, and new hops are developed, and new flavors come into vogue, and No-Brainer was our opportunity to keep in step with where that evolution continues to go, while allowing our beloved Hop Devil to remain, frozen in its beautiful self.
And I was waiting for the opportunity to bring it up. Hop Devil was the first craft beer I got into.
Same,
Yeah.
For a lot of people.
Yeah, I saw it was at my local bar, long time ago. And I was drinking Yingling. That was all I ever drank. Yingling and Jack Daniels. That's what I drank.
And kudos to you. That's a big step up. We've all had our share of Yingling Lager.
Yeah.
And but that's not. You went up 5 rungs, not 1 rung.
Right.
That's how Wayne does it.
That's how I do. But yeah, and I found it. I didn't even know at the time. I didn't even know what hops were. I didn't know what a hoppy beer. I didn't know what that meant. But I was like, I think I like hoppy beers. I don't know what that means, but this Hop Devil's really good. And then eventually I learned, and here I am.
I might have you beat, though. I went from Corona to Harpoon IPA.
Whoa.
You did, yeah.
Wow.
That's a few more rungs, I think.
Yeah.
Wow. Put a cinder block on the gas pedal.
Yeah. I also really like their UFOs, too. But, yeah, Harpoon IPA was my original craft beer.
That's cool. That's a great experience. Thanks for sharing that.
But yeah, and the other thing I was waiting to bring up, and as long as we're bringing things up, where's Red Thunder?
I knew it.
That is like one of my favorite beers ever.
Yeah.
All right, so Wayne, this is the part we're gonna have to edit out. Red Thunder's in my basement, so you and I are gonna have to delve into that.
Is Bill inviting you to his basement right now?
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Bill Witch project.
So is that the only way to get it?
It is. Red Thunder was very near and dear to my heart. I just thought that the phenols of the red wine barrels and the really juicy malt characters of that porter just were perfect together, and it broke my heart that the audience didn't recognize how genius and delicious this beer was.
Some of us did.
And
Wait, what? I was here for release day. There were lines out the door.
No. Red Thunder, probably you're talking about Dark Intrigue or...
No, didn't you used to release it the Wednesday before Thanksgiving?
Well, we do. We have releases, but Red Thunder was not part of that program.
Oh.
It was standalone. So,
well, Red Thunder was freaking amazing, and we're going to make
Agreed.
it our own personal mission to make people demand that it comes back.
well, there you go. So this is the purpose of today's podcast.
To bring back Red Thunder.
Revive Red Thunder.
There it is. There's the hashtag.
I mean, it's a shame, but we all do have to remember, and we've said it time and time again. Brewing beer is fun and great, and we all love beer, but it is also a business. And if you're doing something that just isn't working, you have to be flexible enough to say, okay, we're going to pivot and do something else.
Yeah, my very first day of brewing school in Germany in 1993, our professor said, if the public wants beer with foam on the bottom of the glass, we must make beer with foam on the bottom of the glass. And, that's a really over-the-top, bombastic statement. And so you let it sink in, and obviously you recognize that he's trying to make everybody know we're under his command. But that has resonated with me time and time again throughout my career, because it is true. As much as you put your ideas and your soul into the beer, it actually has to be purchased by someone.
Yeah.
And I think we never lose sight of that at Victory. The taproom experience gives us the opportunity to trial all of our wild-ass ideas, and the ones that resonate with people, well, great, they live on, and the ones that don't, then we have learned something and we move on.
And I think it's a test, I think, that every young brewery might have to face, is to to make a beer or a style of beer that you're super passionate about that maybe isn't popular. Everybody's coming in. Everyone wants the hazy IPAs and say, guys, I want to make a Pilsner. Guys, I want to make a Roggen beer or something like crazy. And you think it's a perfect example of that style, but nobody's buying it. Like, you have to have the sensibility to say, well, I love this beer, but obviously the people don't, and I'm here to serve what people want.
Yeah, and the funny thing about that is that the people that do fall in love with these things, they don't forget that you've made it, so they still continue to show up and go, hey, what about Red Thunder? Hey, when's Dark Lager coming back?
But the important... Dark Lager, yes.
Yeah.
But the important thing is those people are still coming back. And even though maybe we might nag you about certain beers, we know there's always going to be other things on the menu that we want to drink too, so...
Nagging is a form of positive encouragement.
That's a great way to look at it. The more you know with Bill Kovaleski. So, I love it.
So I know it's your show, but I'm sitting here looking at Bobby and Justin and wondering what what Victory beers they miss most dearly now that we're on that subject.
That's a good question.
Let's go for it. Yeah,
man, I'll jump right in. I think that Keller Pils that you made, I think for the Craft Brewer Conference not too long ago, that was one of my favorites.
Can't go wrong with the Keller Pils.
Yeah.
Super fan? Orange super fan?
Oh, sorry. I got lost in the sauce there for a second. Looking at the people here.
I got lost in the sauce.
Pretty much all the Roush beers from my guys, like Scarlet Fire, and I really miss Baltic Thunder was one of my favorites of all time.
Yep.
Baltic Thunder, that's a great one.
Yep.
And there are a lot of beers that have gone under the radar that I've definitely missed. I'm trying to think the Storm King also was my favorite. The Storm King that was aged in the whiskey barrels. Dark Intrigue, sorry. Lost it, yes.
Yes.
I should not have cracked that last bottle when I did, but I was happy to enjoy it with my friend. But, man, I do miss that beer quite a bit. One and done.
Well, once again, it gets back to my point earlier about what we do is we make memories. And sometimes the memories are so strong, so rich that they can't live on forever. They really are a moment in time.
And then people just nag about you to bring them back and make them happen again.
Exactly. Haunted by the ghosts of the past.
Yeah, right.
I'm okay with that.
All right, cool. So as long as we're eliciting opinions from the others at the end of the table there, why don't we take a moment to learn a little bit about you guys. Bobby, you're the senior designer here. What's your background? How'd you end up at Victory?
Yeah, so I was born and bred in Downingtown. Went to school in Philadelphia. Moved out west. Was in the Bay Area for 8 years, did the whole get married, have a kid, build a family kind of thing, make myself a career out there. I was working in apparel design at a company called Oaklandish. Shout out to Oaklandish. And then way of my wife, moving back to New York to Philadelphia. I like to call myself the prodigal son a little bit, moving back to Downingtown. The family enjoyed it. And I've been with Victory for about a year and a half right now.
And so you oversee packaging design, the apparel design here, that sort of thing, pretty much a little bit of everything?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. We have our hands in a lot of things. What we do, what the in-house design department does, is really touches upon a lot of aspects of the company, especially of course, the beer brands, and really to bring them to life.
Do you find it difficult or maybe comforting to be able to work with such an iconic logo and brand? I mean, Victory's been around for quite a while. People recognize that red V. Is it difficult to sort of freshen up a brand that's so well known, or do you find that as a comforting challenge?
Well, I mean, to Bill's point of kind of toying around with the name and finally landing on Victory, I mean, you can't get a better name than Victory. And what I've tried to put a little bit of my mark on the brand is really bring that V a little bit more to life. If you'll see some of our, limited series in the Liberty Bell Ringer, it's just a big V on the can for the branding. When you see our core branding, we have the overarching Victory beer. But it's just a strong name. It's just a strong mark that, of course it's nerve-wracking. Put that on your shoulder a little bit and carry it forward, but it's fun. Design's fun.
I have the classic blue T-shirt with the big Victory V on it, with like the little spiky things coming out of it. One of my favorite T-shirts ever. I love that T-shirt. I bought that when we came here to meet Joe Man for the first time.
Oh,
We met
Joe
Joe Man.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we sat at the booth that used to be right here.
Right here. Yeah.
With the Lazy Susan and the big copper thing on top.
So Joe Man is a big fan of ours. Used to live in Richmond, Virginia. Got in touch with us years ago, pretty early on in the podcast.
It's probably
and was
about
like,
5 years ago now.
He's like, I really love you guys. I'm going to be coming up sort of in your area. We should meet up. And we decided that this was a great place both to get really good beer and food, but also it worked for us geographically. And that was the first time we met him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Rich and I were just on a road trip, and we stayed at his place in Phoenix.
Yeah, now he's in
we
Arizona.
have now become really good friends with them.
So
this
making
is where
memories.
we first met them.
Yeah, definitely making memories.
More memories. Yeah.
More beer memories.
This is a warm and fuzzy podcast.
I know,
It
right?
is.
We're gonna lay down a bed of like soft piano music over this whole episode.
It really should.
All right, well, we got Bobby's story. Justin, how'd you end up here?
Bill and I met a long time ago as I was bringing beer to Longwood Gardens, and I was very excited about the prospect of, introducing people to the local beers. We were serving Yingling at the time, and I thought I'd meet a random person from Victory when I came in to talk to them, and it wound up being Bill himself. Super friendly, gregarious individual. I was already a fan. I was a super fan because I already liked Hop Devil. I sort of got the beer already. Meeting the person that made it kind of made it exciting for me. I wound up going to D.C. for a couple of years with my wife when she went to graduate school. I was coming up here taking down like 4 or 5 cases for my friends. I was basically like shilling beer out of the back of my car to buddies, like trying to get them on board. I mean, people were having epiphanous, experiences with the beers. So I remember Moonglow being like a particularly effective beer to like bring, new beer drinkers onto. So I've got more Victory T-shirts and hats and products than you can possibly imagine. It's a real sickness for me at this point. But I've been a friend and a fan for a very long time.
That's awesome.
What keeps you coming back? What keeps you so loyal?
At this point, my daughter grew up in this brewery. She was here when she was 8 days old at a booth about like 16 feet away from here. And Bill gave her a onesie. It said Dirty Little Monkey on it, or Messy Little Monkey maybe? Or
Messy Little Monkey.
Messy Little Monkey,
Yeah.
yeah. And my daughter grew up here, and I trained her very well at a young age to sort of request pretzels for lunch. And it was like, where do you want to go for lunch? Well, they'd be like, Victory. And I'm like, well, if we have to. Well,
Oh, man.
oh, my God, we'll go to Victory again. It'll be the 3rd time this week. But the people in this area are very passionate about this brand. We all view it as our hometown brand. I mean, people in Philadelphia view this as their hometown brand. That's 45 miles away. This brand has a real... It owns this area. For some reason, people really get this brand, and everyone sort of feels they're a part of it.
Yeah.
We all feel like, to me particularly, I feel like for some reason, I feel like as a person who's supported, I feel like I'm part of the success. I've shared this beer with everyone I know, and I love the idea of the place. There's an arcade in the building that brings my daughter back. There's pretzels, there's branding, there's beer. There's great food. I mean, it's got great ambiance. There's music. There's a zillion reasons to love coming to this place every week, which I think I have for the last 19 years.
The only sad thing about Justin's story is the fact that he's an accomplished chef, and his daughter's favorite food is the Victory pretzel. So
the absolute truth.
Somewhat unfortunate, but I love that point about being part of the success, because that's something that really resonates with me. The idea that Ron and I had of setting up in a busted Pepperidge Farm warehouse in Downingtown that had been losing business for a long period of time, and making import quality beers for an audience that we suspected could appreciate that. It really is this community that made the success that we can look at in the rearview mirror as Victory being. So it's great to have the community as a part of this podcast. It's great to have them all around us here tonight on this Friday evening. So thank you for choosing a busy Friday evening.
Absolutely.
So Wayne was talking about his Victory shirt. I also have a Victory shirt that Steph bought me for Christmas a couple of years ago, which she actually bought me in September and made me wait until Christmas until I was able to get the T-shirt.
Well, yeah, it's a Christmas
Well,
present.
of course,
present,
obviously, yeah.
By then, he had forgotten about it, so it was a surprise.
I thought you were
Sorta
going to
was.
say, by then it didn't fit him anymore.
Well, that was almost true.
Wow.
It still barely fits to this day. But it's got the V on it, but it's a lot of Philly things.
icons.
Yeah, it's all the Philly icons. There's Rocky, there's Cheesesteaks, there's Liberty Bell. I forget what else is on there, but I love that. And the phrase on the back, and I know I'm not remembering it verbatim, something like locally brewed. Oh God, what's the
Locally
rest
loved.
of it? Locally loved.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that shirt so very, very much. What is this now?
Yeah, we're not going to stop. You guys.
I got sidetracked. I'm sorry. This looks
more food is coming.
absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
It may be a little bit early for dessert, but
Oh
you know,
my God.
It's never too early for dessert.
We will
for
take it.
dessert.
It's so cute too.
There's a waffle and there's. Is that pineapple? Is that mango?
Oh
Is that,
I think it's
my
mango.
gosh!
Thank you.
oh, and it smells heavenly. Oh,
Forget everything else we were talking about.
Plenty to go around.
speaking of shirts not fitting.
Speaking of shirts not fitting.
Wow. Well, Chef Jeremy, what is this magical looking thing that was just placed in front of us?
Are you ready for this?
I don't know that I am.
It's got a couple layers to this onion. This is not an onion. It is it is our dessert of the day, and it, not to harp on history and what victory is to me, but I know Golden Monkey has a known spot in a lot of people's hearts growing up and realizing maybe too late how alcoholic it can be. So throughout the victory story, this brings us to Twisted Monkey, and it's really an updated history lesson for a lot of people on what Twisted Monkey is. And it's true to the style. It's a Belgian ale, and true to some cooking methods, I incorporated it in a Belgian waffle. So for dessert, rather than a breakfast side of the waffle realm, I decided to deconstruct or, really just make my unique take on a waffle cone. So it's an ice cream cone with waffle. It's really sweet. The Twisted Monkey is actually macerating, to bring up that word again, it macerates the mangoes, so you get a little Belgian taste in the mangoes. The ice cream and the syrup should really sweeten it all up. And then what's interesting, after I made the Belgian waffle batter, was like I kind of made a comment about the seasoning or lack of seasoning in a lot of recipes that tied in beers. That Belgian flavor, that I don't want to do it injustice or use vocabulary that doesn't really assign well to the beer, but it really, to everybody who tried the waffle by itself tastes almost like a whole wheat, super healthy version of the waffle itself, which is funny because it's not exactly the healthiest style of waffle you can make. So this was a unique dish that I got to make, and rather than like compare cooking with beer to cooking with wine, let's say, I got to replace other elements of the waffle batter itself. So other elements, including the milk, or really pretty much the milk, or some people might use buttermilk in that situation. I got to use the liquid Twisted Monkey. Super unique. I decided I just wanted to go straight forward with that. It's hardly any dairy in it, and then you get the dairy with the ice cream.
Holy crap! This
You guys like it?
Exactly.
Well, no,
Holy crap.
and the pairing with the beer is unreal.
Yep.
Like that mango, and then you drink the beer.
Cool.
Like, I've had this beer a couple times since it's come out.
It's a great beer.
You guys have been gracious to send us some of these new brands, and this was one that really stood out to me, and it really transforms the beer. I mean, it's a good beer on its own, but then, oh my gosh.
Yeah, well, you should be able to, drinking the beer with the dish, you should be able to taste a little bit more of the beer in the food, or even if it's sort of like you just know what flavor to connect with your palate or when you're eating it. But either way, it does shine through. And you can eat a little bit of the waffle without anything. I mean, it's hard to eat it without the toppings on it. But if you have a little bit of that, you can really notice the Belgian notes or the beer. It's a nice, it's just such an agreeable beer. It's hard to really mess this one up.
Well, and it lightens the dessert up, too. Because you would think like dessert is heavy, and then you drink a beer with the dessert, it's going to be so heavy and you're going to be so full. But the beer almost lightens it and doesn't make it feel as, ugh. Yeah,
well, I mean, hopefully it's not an issue of eating a little bit of ice cream, which might offset the bitterness of a beer. But it's really, with a beer that good, it's hard to really mess this one up. You can go any direction with the mango, and I know seasonally I wanted to make sure we were showcasing the sweetness of the mango, not necessarily a traditional, acidic flavor in the mango where you would want to use it in a salsa or any other variety type, even a mango sauce to go with any type of seafood. these were all options, and I'm happy I settled on the dessert side of things. Really, the key factor in this would be that Belgian taste.
Yeah.
And it made me go straight to the Belgian waffle, which learning how to cook with beer here has been awesome. But, we have that Golden Monkey, and it's so easy to cook with Golden Monkey and have that sweet, all those subtle notes shine through. This is just another step in that progression.
It's an interesting pairing because the dessert came out before the beer, so we saw it, and we saw ice cream, we saw waffles, and I thought, okay, we're gonna have a stout, we're gonna have a porter, because that's kind of where your mind goes when you think of dessert beer pairing. But putting it with the Belgian, because you get like that candy sweetness, you get that banana, that little bit of clove, but also still like that little bit of sharpness, some of those higher flavors that really cut through sort of the heavier dairy and syrup, and it's really amazing. It goes really well together.
I've had a great time listening to all these comments bouncing around because it really gets back to the vision that Ron and I had about our opportunity and how, if we were going to open up a place that was dependent on the beer quality and we were going to also offer food, the two things actually had to complement one another, and we're going to rely on one another for success. The most delicious IPA on earth served with an undercooked burger with, wilted lettuce is going to result in you thinking that the IPA is not as good as it could have been. Right. So we recognize that challenge, and Jeremy's addition is, part of that whole process of recognizing the opportunity to do the best in any given moment. And I'm glad we surprised you with putting forward a fruited Belgian ale for the dessert. That's the other opportunity we've always enjoyed, is surprising the guests with something unexpected.
So what is the pairing experience like for the guests? Do you guys have pairing suggestions in the menu, or do your servers just provide that? How does that go?
So it has actually evolved over the years. We've had both. We've had literal pairings on the menu itself. We've had no pairings found at all because we don't want to, typecast somebody's.
You don't want to tell people what
we don't
they have
want
to
tell
do.
them if right. And as great as the pairings could be, there's many more offerings that you can showcase with the beer. There are many different flavor notes or tasting profiles that you can bring out depending on what your traditional pairing is. So a lot of that comes down to training. I mean, we are very intensive on the training side when it comes to communicating any message about any one of our beers. And normally any dish we can guide you with 2 or 3 basic pairings, but somebody might have a completely different idea of what is correct to pair with any dish. So we have gotten away from listing them because we don't want to tell people what to drink. We don't want to tell them what to eat either. And we kind of leave it up to them. Every once in a while we will have a suggested beer pairing, but it's also impossible to say that just because we use that beer in that recipe that you need to drink that beer with it. Some of our dishes have multiple beers used in.
That's a good point, but also, and I was always the kind of person like, don't tell me what to drink, I'm going to order what beer I want. But when you have something like this, well, any of these pairings where they went so well, it's like, how can you not you're really going to like this beer and you're really going to like this dessert. Sure. But if you put them together, like we talked about the 1 + 1 = 3 experience whenever we do a tasting show with Greg Gorth, and it could alter the experience for the customer. So even definitely. If you, I could even see the server saying, here's this dessert. I know you didn't order this beer, but I just want to give you a small sample of this. Just taste it with the dessert. Right. I really think that you'll be impressed because you guys have a rare opportunity here with the quality of food and the quality of beer to just give that extra experience when you put them together.
Yeah. Well, that is definitely my hope. I know it's Bill's. I've talked to Bill and Ron both on certain events where we have coursed out menus, set menus. If a new beer is coming out, they're the first people that I like to talk to. And they always have so much insight about, what the beer's inspiration is. And then that, whether I want to incorporate it or not, that's where I start. And that's really, then I know everything background-wise, training-wise when it comes to food. But the food evolves with the beer. And when they are perfect, that is, it really is worth it.
Now, I also noticed, and Bill, maybe you can answer this question, that you guys, I know you offer flights, and I know people can order whatever they want in those flights, but you do also have some prepared flights that people can order for beer in the menu as well. Are those to kind of just give people a whole experience of Victory, or they're thoughtfully thought out in the reasons you put those beers together?
Yeah, to use sort of an overused word anymore, it's a curated list. We've edited the things that we feel logically belong together because, people walk in this door not knowing anything about craft beer from time to time, believe it or not. And it's our job to deliver an excellent experience for them. So we want to give them the tools for them to make a decision. But as Jeremy pointed out, we don't want to be heavy-handed and give them a playbook exactly either. So to what he had provided earlier, we put a lot of knowledge into our staff to take the words on the paper and translate them into an experience that's going to connect with the customer, hopefully in a very positive way. Because it can be very daunting to look up at that board and see, 20 beers and only have names and not know exactly what's going on. So we've always taken the job and responsibility very seriously of connecting the consumer with something that we feel they're going to like. And fortunately, we don't have too many people wandering in anymore that said, well, I like Coors Light. Because that was pretty much our first 5 years.
I can believe it.
Yeah, especially, in those days, I can imagine, yeah.
Actually, that begs another question. Craft beer obviously has been around for quite some time, as is evident by you guys opening in the 90s, but it didn't really take off until...
Back in the 90s.
Exactly. Let's say 9-10 years ago is when it started to really blow up. What were the first couple of years like?
So fortunately, with excellent site selection, as I sort of alluded to earlier, Downingtown is an amazing place, right? It's in close proximity to the cultural assets of Philadelphia. We got an international airport there, so you can fly to Munich and drink, German beers. Yet our next neighbor is Lancaster, in the most productive area for agriculture. So in Chester County, we saw the opportunity for folks to have an appreciation of culture, i.e. European quality beer, yet also have an appreciation of local production. And so we stuck our flag in Downingtown with the hopes that there was the proper mindset to appreciate what we were doing. We were improving European beer by making it fresher and local. And that idea took root. And our audience gave us the privilege and latitude to take it further, starting with only 3 beers: Hop Devil Ale, a Dortmunder Lager, Brandywine Valley Lager, and Victory Fest beer, the Märzen that stays true to itself today. And, after drinking lagers like that or drinking the Hop Devil, they would tell us of different beers that they would be interested in drinking. So, we were like, awesome, that's a green light. We're going to go do that.
Very nice. That's cool. Now, I want to fast forward a while, and I was dealing with an audio thing while we were talking about the waffle and the beer. It was all delicious, incredible. I've been on a waffle kick lately, and this is fucking amazing. Perfect.
Yeah, I can attest to that. Dan and I are roommates, so that's a little backstory. He's got this waffle maker he bought, I don't know, when did you buy it?
A couple months ago.
Did you get it at Aldi?
No, Amazon.
Oh, I got my waffle maker at Aldi.
I missed it at Aldi.
He literally makes waffles every weekend.
Every weekend. Because
every morning,
I sleep in, I make a good breakfast. I throw a waffle batter together. I did chocolate waffles a week or two ago.
I did matcha waffles.
That's right. You were telling me about that.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
so
matcha
good.
waffles.
Matcha waffles. And you don't put any sugar in the batter at all.
Huh.
It's just the syrup, whatever you add afterwards.
Okay.
And you just need a teaspoon of matcha, and it makes them this beautiful green color.
Cool.
We put boysenberry syrup on them.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh my God, they're so good.
That does sound pretty
so
good. Waffles aside, and not to downplay the waffle, because it was delicious. So
Waffle Buster.
We mentioned the first couple of years. I want to fast forward to about 3 years ago. And Jeremy, you had, in passing, mentioned it earlier about how you got to roll the pretzels with 6 Point and with Southern Tier. A couple of years ago, it came out, and I think it was a very good strategic move that Victory and Southern Tier would join forces to be artisanal brewing ventures. What led to that decision? I guess, Bill, that's mostly for you than the other guys at the table.
Oh, no, I should totally hand this over to Bobby.
Well.
All right, I'll take it. He's still working on his waffle. What led to that decision? as I said, earlier, when Ron and I wrote our business plan, there were 460 breweries in the United States, and today there are 7,500 breweries in the United States. And so in forming Artisanal Brewing Ventures, we saw the opportunity to steer the consolidation process that was clearly the next phase of craft brewing in a favorable manner, whereas like-minded brewers could be a part of a safe harbor or a platform where we could continue to, with combined resources, provoke the world's largest brewers that had bought into craft beer and were probably trying to co-op craft beer and steer it back to a place where they were much more comfortable with. And so it was really recognition of the conditions in front of us. It was respect for all the wonderful employees that had helped us succeed to that level. It was respect for the audience that helped us succeed to that level. And so it was a way to preserve and protect the future and heart and soul of craft beer by joining together with like-minded brewers. And if you want to look for specific flashpoints or signposts along that way, all right, Heineken owns Lagunitas.
Right.
Yeah.
Anheuser-Busch owns 11 formerly legitimate craft breweries.
Don't even want to get into that.
Yeah, all right.
We've lambasted that for a long time.
It's sad to think about. But
so in forming the like-minded partnership, who approached who?
There was often, as this happens, there is a third party that says, we admire you guys and we admire these guys and we think you might work well together. And so when that introduction is made, and you do recognize the unique attributes of one another, knowing that this future ahead of you is moving towards consolidation, it really is definitely set up, it was the right conditions.
And do you think Dogfish Head and Sam Adams got the idea from you?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
We did it first.
No, I mean that's a beautiful marriage as well.
Yeah,
I admire
Very
those
much so.
companies.
And you're right when you speak to it's inevitable that is where the industry is heading. It's either going to be companies that care more about the money than the beer buying up the breweries, or it's going to be brewing companies coming together and saying, "Hey, we care about this. We care about this industry. We are stronger together." Let's make some sort of agreement, some sort of union.
Right, and to be fair to everyone who's listening here, I mean, it's not necessarily the future for breweries of every single scale.
No. Yeah.
There's business models out there that are going to be perfectly fine being what they are, but there's larger scale breweries that really would be wise to figure out their partnerships and figure out who they're going to dance with, because the musical chairs game is on.
Yeah.
Are you open to other partnerships along the way, joining Artisanal? Six Point joined last year, towards the end of 2018.
Yeah, that was a beautiful group of people that we brought in there as well.
Six Point's great.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
The fact of the matter is, it is open-ended. We do look forward to having other partners, yet at the same time, we're totally happy being this group of three. It's a really... it's a great group of people, and we haven't fully realized all of our opportunities as three, so we're totally content in this situation, but we keep our eyes open.
What I really like about the partnership is obviously three now great brands that are like-minded, as you said, joining forces in this. But every year as the Brewers Association releases their top 50 craft breweries and breweries overall, it's always fun to see where the local guys are, and it was great to see how both Victory and Southern Tier at the beginning of the partnership had fared. And I wrote down stats earlier, and I really like that in 2018, together, you guys were 11th of the top 50 craft breweries and 20th overall, top 50 beer breweries overall, which was really good, up from 2017, where it was 14th in craft and 24th overall. And before the partnership, Victory was 26th in craft and 33rd overall, which is a great showing, of course. Southern Tier was 33rd and 40th overall. So it was really cool to see how the two forces could combine together to really produce that much more quality beer under the same umbrella and really start making awesome gains from what it seemed like.
Great observations, Dan. And, mostly from a consumer standpoint, no one sits back and says bigger is better. But to be in the game, to be competitive, bigger can be better. and your numbers bear that out. But the identities of the breweries are all independent and there. So we're having a great time collaborating with one another and admiring what one another can contribute without stepping on one another's toes.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that the beer hasn't changed. The companies haven't changed. The atmosphere hasn't changed. It's just, in the marketplace, it makes more sense to have some friends.
It's not selling out. It's kind of buying in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a really good way to put it.
That's a great way to put it. One other question, and then I want to play a game because
I think we're getting there.
We're getting to that point. Are there any plans, and you can say that yes or no there aren't, or you're not allowed to talk about it, to release any beers as artisanal? You and Southern Tier and 6 Point together collaborating on one beer that will be served at all three and just released under the umbrella name.
So I'm going to give you an answer that's not going to be 100% yes or no. I'm going to tell you.
I thought he was going to say true.
True. The desire is there. Licensing situations of breweries that exist are founded in different states create a difficult overlay to create pure collaborations, especially of three partners. So the desire is there. The discussions on the legalities of how this can be unwound are ongoing, and it's going to happen, but I can't give you a window.
Oh, of course not, but at least the idea is there, and I love that you guys are looking towards that.
So the beers that are brewed in North Carolina, what brand are they under?
North Carolina is licensed on its own. We can actually put any of the brewery flags on the name, but you will see that on the credits of the canned beer that's coming out of Charlotte will identify it as that being produced by that facility. So because we all agree with one another, we can let the names be applied, but the producing brewery has to be properly identified, and that is a brewery of its own in Charlotte.
That's a really phenomenal spot, by the way. I was lucky enough to be there 2 years ago, and it's a really cool vibe. Great outdoor space. Very, very cool.
And that's CLT Brewed, Charlotte Brewed.
Yeah, so Bobby's had involvement in that as well. The CLT Brewed portion of our portfolio also.
I don't think I knew that Charlotte was CLT.
Yeah,
I guess that makes sense. But
airport.
That makes sense. Like Atlanta's ATL, Philly's PHL. I never thought of that, but I like that.
Do you know what the call code is for Toronto?
TNT?
I don't. I feel like I used to know.
So I've outed you as not a fan of the fantastic Canadian band Rush.
No, I'm sorry. I mean, I like Rush.
Oh, yep.
But
not.
There
it is. YYZ.
Yes.
Yep. YYZ.
Dan comes through.
There you go.
Do you know what Wichita is?
No.
ICT.
ICT.
Better than ICP.
That's what I was thinking.
Well, like ICT. Everyone from around here drinks ICT.
ICT.
The beverage.
ICT. Oh, that makes sense.
No, not as good.
Bobby, I totally cut you off. I'm sorry. CLT something.
CLT Brewed. Charlotte Brewed.
Okay.
I'm sorry. He was just telling you the name.
Okay.
Should we play a game now?
On that flub. Yeah, let's play a game. Oh, here it is.
Oh, let's do it. So we welcome Justin back to the table to play the game.
We should. I liked it as like seamless transitions between Justin and Jeremy.
They were like producing themselves over there.
They were just kind of swapping back and forth. The interesting thing is I wrote down the little score table like, 15 minutes ago while Jeremy was still here. I'm sorry, when you were here the first time before you left, and then Jeremy said that, and I was like, shit, I might have to change it, but I didn't, and I'm glad I waited, because then he left again, and you came back. So anyway, we're going to play a game.
Can I answer the beer question one more time, the one I missed the most? I remember now which one it was. I panicked.
Oh, we had time to think about it.
It's Otto.
Otto.
The name was gone for a minute, and I was so upset.
I'm not
Otto was the dude.
Otto's the one you missed the most.
That's the one I missed the most.
What kind of beer was Otto? I'm not familiar with that one.
It was a Belgian double with smoked malts added to it because in our minds we felt that the phenols of the smoked malt would play really, really well with a Belgian double. And in our minds they did. In the minds of the majority of the audience, maybe not.
I'm sensing
not everyone appreciates smoked beers the way we do.
No, I had the T-shirt, and I was like sitting over there, like mentally trying. I was like, "What was the name?" I was like,
I couldn't think of it. That's the worst.
All right,
I love that beer.
What's our game?
All right, let's play a game. Cheers, Internet, and welcome to Happy Fun Time Games, the podcast trivia segment that is a triumph for your ears.
Whoa.
Yeah, you see what I did there? You like that? You like that?
That's slick.
All right, today we are playing everyone's favorite happy fun time game, Libation or Fabrication, but this is the Backstory Edition. This is, of course, the game in which you must discern whether these outlandish names are actual beers or the ramblings of a semi-competent podcaster. This time, however, I have an added bonus, the backstory behind all of the names of the beers and the fake names. So I have a little bit of a history to go along that I don't always have. But all you need to know is I'm going to give you the name of something, and you need to tell me if that is the name of a beer or not the name of a beer. And just to make it interesting, for the ones that are beers, if anybody wants to guess the style, there might be bonus points on the line.
Might be.
Right, there might be. We'll see how it goes. Now, that's very important because, as we talked about earlier, there's never been a prize for winning Happy Fun Time games, but there is now a punishment. So whoever loses is going to have to endure that punishment when we start Last Call, which is something only our patrons on Patreon get to experience. If you want to see that in action, go to patreon.com/beerbusters. So I mentioned earlier that it was a mixture of 3 beers. So this is what I grabbed at the last minute before I left the house. Our good friend Mike from Free Will Brewing gave us a can of Lord Bidness that was canned in November of last year. Now, this is a beer that probably shouldn't sit around very long. We thought, okay, that might make a good punishment beer, but I feel like it's not going to be bad enough. So, Dan also brought home a couple of...
I was given
a couple of, shall we say, broad, appealing beers from a recent sort of cookout event. So I also have a can of Heineken and a can of Miller Lite. So to make Lord Bidness just a little bit more off-putting, I think we're just going to mix them all together.
And hopefully the Heineken and Miller Lite have been in your trunk.
They were in the trunk.
Nice.
But not that long. Only the time that we drove here, and they've been sitting in a bag. But it is... actually, no, we took them out of the cooler bag. So they've been sitting. They've just been sitting warm
since be considered a Jersey Turnpike
since we got here. So
Jersey Turnpike.
Holy hell.
Well, that's going to be a Jersey Turnpike. So anyway, I've talked long enough, but that is the punishment. So
Let's go.
Keep that in mind while you're answering these questions. That's what's on the line, and we will begin to my left with Bill. Tell me, is this a real beer or is it not? This is called The Sun is Closer Than the Clouds. Real or fake?
That actually sounds real to me.
All right, fair enough, Bobby.
Ooh, I'm going to say fake.
I like how Bill immediately got the poker face of this game. He was going to elaborate as to why, and then he thought, I don't want to give anyone else any hints. Justin, what do you think?
I definitely think real. Are we guessing style too, or no?
We'll get there once everybody's given their initial answer.
Oh, I see how you're doing it.
Dan?
Oh, shit, I'm next.
The sun is closer than the clouds.
That's not true, though.
It's not. But it seems like a real
Too
beer
much
name.
detail.
That is actually a lie.
Wait till you hear the backstory, Steph. What's your guess?
I'm going to say it's real, but it is a lie.
Bobby is the only one who is wrong because it is, in fact, real.
Is it a wheat beer or wit beer of some
Nope.
sort?
A hazy blonde ale.
Nope.
Hazy IPA?
Nope. Anyone? Style?
A
5,
white stout.
4,
Porter.
2,
Rausch beer.
1.
Hefeweizen.
No, lemon meringue milkshake IPA.
Oh,
of course.
That is not a kind of beer.
I would have
That's not
accepted
That
milkshake
deserves to be
IPA.
fake.
That
it's
is
fair.
fake.
So this is from Launchpad Brewery in Aurora, Colorado. The Sun is Closer Than the Clouds is not just an IPA, not just a milkshake IPA, but a lemon meringue milkshake IPA.
That's
According
not real beer.
Sign me up.
Fair. According to their head brewer, Paul Mahoney, this might be seen as ridiculous, as we have all now said. Yes. Well said. So they decided to embrace the ridiculous and name it after flat Earth logic.
All right, now it's making sense.
A friend of theirs went to a flat Earth convention and brought back a pamphlet that included the expression, the sun is closer than the clouds.
Are you
did.
calling bullshit on the flat Earth thing?
I'm just
calling bullshit? That's hurtful.
I'm just reading you the backstory that I have. No judgment here. A lot of judgment here. Being a rocket-themed brewery and already considering the word sun as part of the name because lemons, they decided it was meant to be. We think that people like to drink fun beers, Mahoney says. Our customers have embraced the pseudo-mocking of the flat Earth. I would have taken pseudo out. No word yet on whether they're going to make an ice wall Eisbach. Moving on. Yes. And Bobby is going to guess first on this one. Our next one is called American Mustache Institute. Real or fake? You're up first, Bobby.
Oh, man, I'm going to let it ride. I'm going to go false.
Oh, going false. Justin, what do you
I'm with
think?
him. False. That sounds,
also
that
saying
sounds
false. All right, Dan.
First, what was it again? I'm sorry.
It is called American Mustache Institute.
That's hipster enough to be real.
Dan is saying it's real, Steph.
Okay, so you know I always say real, but say it again.
American Mustache Institute. You're familiar with all
Like
those
it
words.
feels. I can't.
I don't know. I feel like that's fake. I feel like it's fake. I'm going to say fake.
Saying fake. Finally, Bill.
I am hoping and suspecting that is fake.
All right, saying fake. The fakes have it. It is, in fact, fake. It is not a beer. Do you know what it is? It is an actual non-profit organization.
I was going to say, it sounds like it could go with Movember.
Yeah.
The American Mustache Institute seeks to address the wrongs done to and protect the rights of all mustached Americans. The Institute was founded in 1965 and hails itself as a think tank, association, and advocate for those with mustaches.
They're doing good work.
All right, let's identify who should be on their board of directors. I'm going to steal
Snidely Whiplash.
Snidely Whiplash. There we go. Thank you for that one. I'm going to steal Bobby's entry probably and say Raleigh Fingers.
Ooh, I like it. 1969 A's. Shout out. I'll go Salvador Dali.
Oh, Salvador Dali. That's a good one. That's a good one. Ron Swanson.
Of course.
Yeah, that's pretty majestic mustache. Anyway, they also proudly state that they are broadly considered the bravest organization in the history of mankind, behind only the U.S. military and the post-Jim Henson Muppets.
Who was the villain? Was it Dudley Do-Right or was it Rocky and Bullwinkle? One of them had a really good curly Q mustache.
Dudley Do-Right was on Rocky and Bullwinkle. Wasn't it the guy
Was
that
he?
tied the one to the tracks?
I think so.
Wasn't the commies.
Snidely Whiplash.
That's what I said first.
Was that Snidely Whiplash? I didn't know the name. All right.
Mr. Mustache.
Boris had a mustache too, though, didn't he?
Moose and Squirrel.
Boris, darling.
Moose and Squirrel. You can visit them at AmericanMustacheInstitute.org if anyone's interested.
But you can't drink it.
Moving on, and Justin is going to guess first on this one. Is this real or fake? This one is called Pet Rock and a Moon Boot.
That is dumb enough to be real.
Dumb enough to be real. I like that logic, Dan.
I'm going real. That's a good point.
Dan going real.
All right, I'll say real.
Steph also saying real. Phil?
I'm going to stick my neck out and say it's fake.
Ooh, bucking the trend. Bobby, what are you going to do?
Pet rocks are real. I'm going to go.
Rocks are real. Bill was the only one who was wrong. It is, in fact, real. Style? Anyone?
Milkshake IPA.
Nope.
Hazy IPA.
Hazy IPA. Steph gets a bonus point.
Of course, it's a hazy IPA.
Steph gets a bonus point. It is a juicy / hazy IPA from Thunder Island Brewing in Cascade Locks, Oregon. Apparently, the haze craze is a little less fervent in the Pacific Northwest, and head brewer Andrew Rosette says for a while he was resistant to them as well. Eventually, he decided to brew one, partly for the challenge and partly because, well, people buy them a lot. As a fan of beers with stories behind them, Rosette pondered other fads that have come and gone. This led him to the poster child of ridiculous fads, the Pet Rock. He also decided to tack on another one with a little bit of nostalgia, moon boots, which he admits to having a pair of in the 1980s. Maybe next he'll make a Beanie Baby Bach.
I don't remember moon boots.
Or a planking pale
Yeah,
ale.
what's another thing?
No?
You don't remember moon boots?
Yeah, they were like the
Insulated
big,
boots?
they were
Oh my
gigantic
God.
and square, and you would jump. That was the whole thing. Was like you
yeah,
can
little
jump more like
trampolines
you're
on your
on the
feet.
moon.
I
Yeah.
had those.
Moon boots, everyone. They were a real thing. Moving on, and Dan
Unfortunately, oh god,
is going to guess first on this one, and our next one is called Happy to Donut.
What?
Happy to Donut.
real. I could see some shitty donut place doing that.
Okay,
like
fair.
a collab with a brewery.
Fair. Steph.
Happy to donut?
Yeah. That is what I said.
Is it supposed to be a pun?
What's the play on words there? I'm not
Right,
I can't figure it out.
It's like we should beer.
I will remind you there is a backstory. All will be revealed in time.
I will say real.
Oh, that makes it a real beer.
Steph is
That's a real beer.
Steph is saying real. Bill,
All right.
I'm going real because, donuts are intrinsically tied to brewery operations.
Especially Rogue Brewing.
yeah, fair.
Yeah,
Bobby?
I'll throw my hat in. That's true.
Oh, saying real. Everybody said real so far. Justin, you
Real.
can agree?
The backstory on fake beers.
Reals all around. Everyone is correct. It is real. Anybody guess the style?
Stout.
Porter.
Yeah, a little
Dessert
more,
IPA.
a little more specific
Imperial
than
stout. Barrel-aged stout. Chocolate stout.
Chocolate stout.
Yes!
That gets another bonus
Chocolate
point.
stout.
It is a chocolate stout. It is from
No punishment for me.
It's from Wren House Brewing in Phoenix, Arizona.
I've been there. They're
Hey,
awesome.
Why
I
didn't
was
you?
just
Why
there.
didn't you
Yeah.
bring us this?
All
Their
I
beer-
have to
that was
say-
my favorite brewery in Phoenix, actually.
Very cool.
Goddamn.
No. I take that back. It was good. It was not my favorite.
Oh.
It was not my favorite.
What was
I think
your
that's the
favorite?
place I had the white beer.
Oh yeah.
Hold on. I need to go to
Well-
Instagram. We talk.
One fateful day, Preston Thoney of Wren House texted his partner Bill Hammond to ask for a simple favor. What the favor was lost to time, but the reply came back, happy to donut, rather than the intended, happy to do it. Yes, autocorrect is responsible for that. And at the time, they were working on a chocolate stout finished on vanilla beans and cacao nibs, and they teased Bill about his mistake and then realized it would be a great name for the new beer. Happy to donut. Moving on, and Steph, I believe, is going to guess first on this one. Too bad she's busy Googling.
Hold on. No, I was
Or
looking at the
Instagramming.
picture.
Instagram.
I was looking.
I love that we're in an industry where autocorrect can actually be a collaborative force.
A creative force for your brewery, yes.
Here, this is at their brewery.
Oh,
that
I saw that, yeah.
That was a beer at that brewery.
Oh.
It is
What
stark
kind of beer
white.
is that?
Milk?
That's a white
It
Russian.
was a gross beer. That's what it
It
was.
looks like a growth beer from here. And
This beer
I'm
and
a good
this
8
beer.
feet away.
These two beers there
That's
were
milk-
really, really
milk with
good.
ice.
But there should be no beer that looks like milk.
None ever.
It was
No.
a sour beer.
How did it pair with
I
that
bet it was
V8
sour.
next to it?
No,
V8
right?
next to
It really does look like V8.
Oh, good lord.
Totally does. Well, milk and V8 and whatever those are probably did not go well together. Moving on. Did I say you're guessing first?
Okay, go ahead.
I don't remember. I have two more.
Well, if we're on the fifth one, then I'm first.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right, we're going to do this one, and then I'm going to remind everyone of the scores, because remember, there's something on the line. Steph, guess first on this one. Is this real or fake? This is called It Tastes Like Somebody Stole My Wallet.
That has to be real.
Steph is saying that's real, Bill.
I'm actually going to go with real because I could see that coming
There's
out
a lot of beers that I've had that I could say that about them.
That's fair. Bobby?
I'm going to go false.
Ooh, Bobby going false. Justin?
Nah.
Nah?
Nah.
Fake? Ooh, dissension.
Strong nah.
We've got two reals. We've got two nah, bros. Dan, what do you think?
I'm gonna go real.
Oh, Dan going real. The fakes have it. It is,
God.
in fact,
We are pretty good at this.
fake. It is not a beer, but it is an actual quote. It is from Gerard Way. Anybody know who that is?
Oh no, get out.
Yeah,
No.
lead singer of everyone's favorite mid-2000s emo band, My Chemical
I was
Romance.
just talking to somebody today about how they ruined emo music.
He said, it tastes like somebody stole my wallet, you know? After sampling a turkey and gravy flavored soda during a segment in a TV interview in like 2007.
Dan, didn't emo music ruin emo
It did.
music?
Man, I'm so glad you said that. Cause
It did. So I worked with a guy who I've been friends with for a very long time through other jobs, and he just got a subscription to SiriusXM, and he was like, I found the emo channel, and it was great, and then they started playing newer emo, and it was terrible. I was like, yeah, you can thank My Chemical Romance for that.
All right.
I agree.
We're going to go over the
My
scores
God.
real quick.
Oh, no.
Steph, totally safe. Steph has more points than there have been questions.
wow.
Funny
She
how
has-
that works.
she
You
has-
don't understand. I never win, so this is fantastic.
She's got 2 bonus points. Putting
Welcome
her
to
at-
victory.
Putting her at 6. Justin, just behind. You've gotten everyone correct. No bonus points, but you have 5. Bobby, not doing too bad. 1 step behind that with 4. In real trouble. My fellow beer buster Dan
Oh, no.
and Bill.
Oh, no.
You guys each only have 3 points. One of you might be drinking something nasty.
Or both of you might be.
Or both. We might do a tiebreaker. I don't know. Moving on to our final name of the game. And I'm going to let Bill guess first on this one. And this is called Stop Ironing My Head.
What?
Stop ironing my head.
Wow.
Can that even fit on
That-
that beer can?
That one's not
Oh
real.
my god.
Saying that is fake, Bobby.
Man, I'm going to go
Yeah, it's real.
Saying it is real.
Real.
Justin.
Real.
All right.
Great name, too.
All right. Justin's saying real.
Perfect.
Dan.
I'm going to go fake, especially so Bill and I are in this together.
All right.
Ooh,
saying
strategic.
fake.
All right, I'll say real then.
Steph saying real. It is fake. It is, in fact, fake. Stop ironing my head is a weird Armenian idiom that essentially means stop wasting my time with your nonsense. A similar saying is found in Turkish. Both are used in response to someone repeatedly asking a question or trying to convince you of something. They are verbally going back and forth like the motion of an iron.
Oh, we have a three-way
gotta
tie
remember
for
that.
last now.
We do.
No, stop,
Who did
stop,
we drag
stop.
down
Really?
with us?
I came down.
Bobby.
So, okay.
I'll go down fighting.
Here's what we have to do. So we have a three-way tie to be punished.
Yes.
Do we want to let all three of them be punished, or do
Yes.
we want a tiebreaker? I don't have a
Wait, can I ask
tiebreaker.
you a question real quick? How come you have like no skin in the game at all in this?
I know.
Well, see, here's the
He
thing.
usually does the
I usually end up
I'm
just,
just
I usually
totally-
end up just doing it anyway. Just
All right, cool. Okay,
He does it out of solidarity and morbid curiosity.
yeah, because I just want to do it just because it's fun.
All right, cool.
So do we want to go ahead with a three-way punishment?
Yeah, why not?
Sure.
Why not?
Yeah. All right.
We're team
Everybody's down.
players.
Everybody's down. Okay. So recapping the scores, our big winner of the evening was 6 points. Technically a perfect score, but 2 of them were bonus points. Steph coming in right behind
Watch with your slow clap.
with 5 points was Justin. Very good. Very good. 5 out of
You
6.
got a thumbs up.
Thank you.
Sitting at the bottom and getting punished. Bill, Bobby, and Dan.
There we are.
We will see
Say
you.
my first rodeo.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
in that call. Oh, boy. This is, of course, the part of the podcast where we shout out to our most generous patrons on Patreon. We would like to thank the following people without whom this really would not be possible. We would like to thank James Lamberg,
Ham sandwich.
Jan Shank,
Drugs.
Joe, the previously mentioned Joe Mansell,
I'm teaching you a little type anus.
new patron Beer, Bourbon, and Games,
Shut up, Wesley.
Mark Modugno,
I wear women's clothing.
Topher Simmons,
Franks and beans.
Poor Man's Brewing Company, Kathy Obashevsky,
Who I got to meet, by the way, and have beers with.
Oh,
Joing, Eric Dixon,
Come on, Barbie. Let's go party.
Nate Bachman,
lawyered.
Brian Mills,
It could happen.
Wolfgang von Colt.
This is bullshit.
Yeah, it is. Jen McDonald,
Dark, thick stuff.
Marilyn Engelman,
I'm never amused.
Josh Price.
I still want some beer out of that egg.
Some beer out of that egg? What was that from?
I don't remember.
Wow, okay. Ron McDonald,
Baby steps.
the man chef, and, of course, Victoria Miles.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
If you want to find out how you can get on this list, as well as other awesome perks like punishment videos and the bonus podcast Last Call, go to patreon.com/beerbusters. But Dan, you and I have something we have to do.
Yeah, we got to settle up.
Let's settle that tab.
Say, Yvonne, remember when I said I'd have to send away to NASA to calculate your bar tab?
Oh, yeah. We all had a good laugh, Mo.
The results came back today. You owe me $70 billion.
This episode is brought to you by Vinyl Me Please. Vinyl Me Please is a Record of the Month club. Every month, they feature one album that is essential to the modern vinyl collection. They send it to thousands of members worldwide. As a member, you're going to get features you won't find anywhere else, like bonus tracks, inserts, colored variants, 12x12 exclusive album-inspired art, and even a custom cocktail pairing recipe. They work closely with the label and artist to come up with something you're not going to find anywhere else. Colored vinyl, custom lyric books, and personal notes from the artist. The membership is flexible and will work for you and with you. And they know that trusting someone else with your music can be pretty scary, which is why you can substitute a record of the month with one from the VMP archives. There's no contract, no strings, no guilt trips, and you can cancel at any time, and they don't have any hidden fees, including shipping. Shipping is included with your membership. A couple examples of VMP Artists of the Month include Van Morrison, Queen, Muddy Waters, Beck, Mitski, Arctic Monkeys, Miles Davis, and Weezer. To find out more and sign up today, head over to joinvmp.com/beerbusters. Again, that is joinvmp.com/beerbusters.
No.
Your beers.
No. Know your beers?
Hey, Steph, what do we got?
We're going to talk about Pilsners.
Yeah.
All right.
So I recently came back from a road trip, one stop during which was to Denver, where I got to go to my favorite brewery ever, Bierstadt Lagerhaus. And our friend James Lamberg, not long after I was there, sent me this article from Craft Beer and Brewing Magazine about the art and science of the slow pour. And I'm like, yes, this is perfect for Know Your Beers. So as many listeners may know, a few breweries and bars are asking customers to wait just a few extra minutes to get their glass of beer so that servers can create a sturdy, pillowy crown of foam that will hold up for the duration of the drinking experience and change the very flavor of the beer. The slow pour is nothing new to beer, but a recent rise in popularity has created a renewed interest in this well-topped pour. In American Craft Beer today, when a slow pour is mentioned, those who have been there will call mind to Bierstadt Lagerhaus. The brewery's commitment to lagers is well known, and their slow pour pills is popular both of the commitment the drinker must make in waiting a few extra minutes between an order and the first sip, but also because the beer is so damn tasty. The tip regulars will tell you is to order the next round when the current one hits the table. Charles Bamforth, the celebrated beer educator who is often called the Pope of Foam, says one of the best-known examples of a slow pour is, of course, Guinness. When pints of the dry Irish stout are poured according to the brewer's suggestion, the whole process will take almost 2 minutes, with the first half of that time going to build a solid base of foam. He said, what happens when you produce a lot of foam is that you're driving the proteins and bitter substances into the head, and when they get into the bubble wall, they interact and begin to stabilize the foam. If you don't produce much foam in the first place, you're not giving the molecules a chance to interact. The key to a perfect slow pour and getting that fantastic dome of foam is to take your time with the pour. But Bamforth reminds you that you shouldn't be timid in this process. With a standard tap, it takes a vigorous pour down the center of the bottom of the glass where the force separates the carbon dioxide, creating foam. Continuously doing this will keep building upon that foam. The liquid drops down until you achieve the ratio desired. What you should avoid is the weak sliding down the side of the glass pour from the standard tap. That won't achieve the proper results. At Suarez Family Brewing in New York, Hudson's Valley, owner and brewer Dan Suarez regularly serves lager in 25 centiliter glasses and only as a slow pour. Suarez says it's in order to give the best presentation in its finest form. Pouring a beer with a proper head is only proper. It's not a gimmick, it's something super special, and it enhances the experience. He says you drink with your eyes first, so it just looks great when it's served, but equal to that is the mouthfeel. When you knock out some of that CO2 from the solution, the body is more supple, and you get those aromatic compounds, and it provides a pop in the nose. From a nitro pour to traditional CO2 pours and even cask ales poured through a beer engine outfitted with a sparkler, the slow-poured beer is dominated by creaminess. For the uninitiated, the idea of having to wait for a beer to be poured, especially a lager, can be strange, but let me assure you, it's worth the wait. And I did not know this, but if you come here to Victory, you can request to have your Prima Pills slow poured.
It was goddamn delicious.
Was that your first ever slow pour?
Don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody. No, tell everybody.
People are going to come in droves.
I think we can do that with homegrown, too.
Ooh.
Slow grown.
Homegrown.
Yes.
Oh.
Slow grown.
Homegrown.
Homegrown is the beer of 2019 in my eyes.
You know what this reminds me of? What was the name of the woman from Brauhaus? The beer woman.
Oh yeah, I know.
Beata?
I don't know her name.
Yes.
Beata?
Beate.
But she was like super all about like pouring the beer properly, and I feel like she was way ahead of the curve. She was also German, so that helps.
So one of the things we've observed about slow pours is that the actual lifespan of the beer doesn't change. Despite the fact that it takes up to 7 minutes to get it to delivered in the Willie Becker glasses we use. The reason being is that the relief of the carbon dioxide and some of the carbonic acid that is exhausted there as well results in a beer that strikes the tummy as so desirable, so soft, and so comforting that you drink the beer faster. And, we're not designing beers to be drunk faster, but that is the net effect that occurs, that we've observed from slow pour service.
Well, at Bierstadt, they serve the slow pour pills in a 30 centiliter glass. So I think that sort of helps. I often wonder, I'm like, why do they serve the pills in such smaller glasses? But it makes sense because it's not going to take as long to do a slow pour in a smaller glass than it would in like a half-liter glass. But yeah, I did not order my second one right away, but then I saw other people at the bar doing that. I'm like, yes. Because the bar, I'm not even halfway done with my glass, and the bartender kept coming over, like expecting me to order another one, and then I was like, I understand why. So I'm not a regular there, so it took me a little longer to figure it out.
I guess the next most important question is, what are we ordering for the next round? Are
Ooh,
we
that's
a great
slow
question.
pour,
A man after my
homegrown,
own liver.
or Pilsner?
Can we do both?
Can we do both?
Can we like compare them
Well,
side by
I
side?
also
How much time you got?
Of course, we can do
I
it.
also heard that there's a new monkey hanging around.
A new monkey hanging around. Yes, there is a new monkey hanging around.
I want to
that
make sure
should-
we get that on the show too.
Yeah, that's true. We've got
Okay.
actually 2 beers lying out there for you to try. So, Rosé Monkey is something that it should be coming up to us in a moment. And the Rosé Monkey represents an opportunity that we discovered by creating the White Monkey. The White Monkey is golden monkey that lives in Chardonnay oak barrels for a period typically about 4 months. And in that situation, it takes on a whole host of new flavors. I find it to be almost dessert-like by the time it emerges. It's got more vanilla characteristics, even like cardamom. It's like almost like a cookie and a golden monkey together, which, you know. So we're not having that. We're going to have the Rosé Monkey. Now that I got you excited.
So it sounds great. You will not be enjoying that.
Yeah, right. No, I have enjoyed that beer many times.
Yeah,
well played,
we've had it
sir.
a
Well
lot.
played.
I've gotten you that for a gift
You did.
many times.
I know.
Bottles of
I
White
have
Monkey.
empty bottles of them at home.
Yeah.
Empty bottles of White Monkey. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's sort of sad, but that's why we're bringing you some Rosé Monkey. So Rosé Monkey. So number one, Golden Monkey is delicious on its own, but being a high gravity beer of soft and subtle nature, we've recognized that it actually takes in other flavors extremely well, whether those flavors come from barrel aging or the additions of fruit. So Rosé Monkey represents an opportunity to actually push both of those buttons. It is the full 9.5% Golden Monkey fermented with our Belgian Trappist yeast, which then lives for 3 months in oak barrels that had previously held Chardonnay white wine from the Wild Horse Winery and Vineyards in California, good friends of ours. And then there is a late addition of natural cherry juice in order to take this blonde ale and push it into a sort of beautiful rosé territory and give yet another overlay to all the subtle flavors that have been layered upon one another.
It's really good.
It's really
It's really
good.
complex.
It's
There is
really
a
good.
lot going on in there.
It's so good.
The color is tasty.
The color's
Color's
tasty as well, yeah.
Spoken like a graphic designer. Well done.
Well, and Dan alluded to this earlier, but it doesn't matter which monkey. Well, Twisted Monkey is lower in alcohol, but these monkeys that are 9.5%.
monkeys.
You can never get them off your back.
They don't taste like it, and then all of a sudden you're like, holy shit!
Yeah, that's.
Because you can just keep drinking them and drinking them and drinking them.
But this has, and I think all the monkeys have this as well. They have all the monkeys. Hashtag all the monkeys. They have that like that Belgian candy sweetness that like you don't get alcohol heat, but you taste that and you're like, okay, this is probably a beer that's higher than it tastes in alcohol. This is delicious though. It's nice and fruity and bright up front, but then you get like the oak and the wood a little like later on, and it gets almost a little smoky at the end.
It's
really
very warm
nice.
too.
Yeah.
So, in terms of the alcohol, we, again, having trained in Europe, we try and be on style with the alcohol percentages. But one of the things that comes up in that pursuit is that the beers often mask the strength. Mm-hmm. And the way that we like to look at it is, as brewmasters, that is sort of our goal. We're trying to make the alcohol as seductive as possible. Not to get you in trouble, but if you like the taste of alcohol, well, there's something called Everclear. You can have at it.
It actually does not taste very good.
You got some?
It's in his basement next to the Red Thunder.
Oh, yeah.
That's a really interesting point, though, is that, like, almost any alcoholic beverage, you are kind of trying to, I don't want to say, like, it's not like a spoonful of sugar helps the alcohol go down, because alcohol contributes its own flavor characteristics that, like, without it wouldn't be nearly the same. But at the same time, just straight like ethanol does not taste good.
Right. No, and again, that's where we see sort of the brewmaster's role is, to make the alcohol as palatable and delicious as possible. We're not trying to deliver alcohol to you. We're trying to deliver flavor to you. But if we take the alcohol out, well, we're probably not going to be any more popular with you.
That's true. Yeah.
So yeah, that is the Rosé Monkey. This is a seasonal for us. It rolled out in late May, and probably will be exhausted in the early weeks of August. And we just keep having fun with all these monkeys, as you put it, Wayne.
All these friggin' monkeys. Now, that means if you are listening to this fairly fresh, you need to get to Victory and see if there's any left.
Right away.
Because it's probably going to be gone soon, and this is really good. And you definitely need to try
It's really good. It's really good.
It's funny, when you said it was Rosé Monkey, and then you started out by saying it was aged in Chardonnay barrels, I thought you were going to say, and then you transferred it to red wine barrels after the fact, and did like a 1-2, but then you put the cherries in there, which is really nice because, like I said, you get that really cool fruit character right up front that I think really helps guide you into the rest of it.
Well, there you go. You may have just helped us out with the next iteration.
I think that's an interesting idea. Yeah.
He just wants you to do something else in a red wine barrel.
I love red wine barrel aged stuff. It's so good. But also what occurred to me when you were talking about it, and I thought that's where you're going, Rosé isn't barreled as... it's a mixture that's mixed after. I mean, I don't know if any of you are into wine.
Well, that's why they add the cherries later.
No, but I'm saying, if you're talking about actual wine. Like a rosé wine,
I don't know. Is it a wine or
as rosé? It's white wine that's in a barrel, red wine that's in a barrel, and then they're mixed after the fact.
I didn't know that.
I don't know.
It makes
I
sense.
assume.
I don't know. Is it?
I don't know.
Is there any wine experts in the house?
Is it red?
Pretty
grapes
sure that's made up, but
I
sounded good.
versus white grapes.
I think so.
maybe
Yeah.
we can look this
So,
up.
but they're not barreled as a rosé. They're barreled separately. I would assume.
So how about if we just keep guessing and take the credibility of this wonderful podcast down?
Yeah, we do that all the time. We do that.
Yeah. We don't need help doing that.
At Beerbusters Podcast on Facebook. You can email us,
Troll
info@beerbusterspodcast.com.
us.
Tell us we were wrong.
Go ahead, text us. 805.
805-991 beer.
I'm glad one of us remembers it.
Wine Busters.
We're not afraid to talk about things we know nothing about.
No, it says rosé wines are made from a wide variety of grapes and can be found all around the globe. When rosé wine is the primary product, it is produced with the skin contact method. Black-skinned grapes are crushed, and the skins are allowed to remain in contact with the juice for a short period, typically 2 to 24 hours.
Isn't that how they tell you to bond with your newborn?
The skin contact method?
Wow, with a glass of rosé?
Remove your skin and put it with your newborn?
Not remove your
It fixes
skin.
diaper rash too.
The first time I met Bill. What?
You had skin contact?
Skin contact?
It made sense. It made sense.
I thought we weren't supposed to bring up the tent.
Sorry.
Let's
Man,
be
I
a
dropped the
rosé.
ball.
Let's be
It
a
has been 2
rosé.
hours, though, so...
This is what the monkey does to you.
It is exactly what the
something
monkey does to
we
it.
didn't cover when we were drinking the Twisted Monkey, which you may find interesting. And that is that Twisted Monkey was our response to a customer concern or customer input. So many people came to us who loved drinking Golden Monkey and said, can you make me a light monkey? Why would we want to do a light monkey? We asked. And they said, well, the other one is so strong. And we said, okay, so you're looking for just lower alcohol. You're not looking for a light beer. And this has been an opportunity that's been laying out there for literally over a decade, and we keep hearing it. So we finally decided to act on it. And, of course, as we expected, when we made a lower gravity mash version of the Golden Monkey, it came out as sort of a thinner thing. We totally expected this, and we totally expected to take these trials and add more things to it to get it back to something that felt like it belonged as a Golden Monkey. And after many, many trials, what we found was the mango was that thing that added both a depth that was in keeping with the heart and soul of the Belgian fermentation of monkey, yet at the same time brought sort of a refreshing party atmosphere to a 5.8% beer. So it really was us trying to think through what the customer interest was in delivering a light monkey.
Interesting. I never thought of that, the idea of I love this beer, but can you make a lower alcohol version of it? And obviously that's going to change the characteristics of the beer. So finding a way to sort of do that, but then not deliver something that's like thin and uninteresting, and be able to like, sort of pad it out and find things that work to fill out that.
Right, because if we don't get it right, people will say, well, this is no monkey.
This is no goddamn monkey.
Whoa.
I think we still have another beer to drink.
Do we?
I believe we do.
Ooh,
Yeah.
what do we have next?
I'm excited for this one.
I think there was going to be a little bit of Liberty Bell Ringer coming our way.
Oh, complete with the signage for this one, too. I really like that artwork.
That is
It's
pretty
awesome,
cool.
Bobby.
I did
Thank
give him
you.
the
Yeah,
idea for
Bobby,
that. I
it's
actually
awesome.
walked him through the design on this. So I said to him, there should
Vectors
be a
and all.
snake. There should be.
I'm writing that down.
This is not
Vectors
true
and
at all.
Oh, we each get a can, too.
Oh, thank you.
all about that.
Thank you.
Do you
Oh,
see that
anyways, thank you.
that tasty gold?
That is such.
That
So
tasty
I,
gold.
I've
That's
got
such a dope looking can. I can't stand it.
I've got a question about the artwork. Why is the snake cut in multiple
It's
places?
the don't
it's
tread on
Don't
me.
tread on me.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
easy. That's
All right,
Ben,
all right.
Ben,
Know your history, man.
Ben
Hey,
Franklin's let the colonies join together, join or die.
Oh,
Yeah.
Come on.
There's a
101.
What's the
History
Latin?
101.
What's the Latin? Isn't there a Latin phrase that
I
goes?
do not know. I do not know.
I think there's Latin.
you can
involved.
plug that in. You can plug that in later on. There
Yeah.
is one, I think.
So anyway, we've gushed about the label. What kind of beer is this?
So Liberty Bell Ringer is a double dry hopped double IPA. So double. You were asking for it in the monkey. You got it in an IPA, all right? You should be happy. At any rate, we have actually been doing this.
There it
beer.
is.
We've been doing Liberty Bell Ringer for, going back 6 or 7 years. It's been our way to celebrate Philly Beer Week, which has moved around on the calendar. But we've done this beer and also celebrated new varieties of hops. So at one point we had the 472 in here. That was 2 years ago. Strata hop, which is a fairly new development, is playing a big role in this one. And, it also goes back to old school Centennial and Simcoe as well, in order to round it out entirely. 8.7%, tons of dry hopping, and Bobby's artwork is, just sort of telling the full story of this beer. It's got a bite, it's got attitude, but it hits a really comfortable place.
Very much so.
The artwork is insane. This is the best can design I've seen.
No, it's
ever.
really
so
cool.
It's pretty cool. Yeah,
I mean,
It's very aggressive for a victory
The process for this, I mean, one, naming a beer is probably one of the most nerve-wracking, hardest part about the process, the
Well, and
design
then
process.
even when you come up with the name, you got to Google it, and like 90% of the time it's taken.
Exactly.
Yeah.
99% of
Yeah.
the time it's
And
taken.
to name it after something so iconic
True.
Exactly.
as well.
So we're on the forefront of that, and then a little bit of the Sixers buzz. It's a little bit of a remix to some things they've come out with creatively, but I wanted to put my spin on it a little bit. I love the traditional tattoo aesthetic. It fit perfectly. I mean, if you'll see, I believe "Join or Die" by Benjamin Franklin. I think he actually drew that cartoon himself. Because he was a man of many hats, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
So I just wanted to capture that, that sentiment and work with that snake imagery. You got the lightning bolts coming out of his mouth. He's thrusting. Like Bill said, everything worked, and it was actually kind of easy. And that's the hardest part about design is everything came together. So I knew exactly what the imagery should be, so I just took it and ran.
As badass as everything about the snake is, the best part is he's drinking beer out of the Liberty Bell.
Yeah, and that's something that we've always had in our back pocket is just the flipped Liberty Bell with beer pouring out. I mean, I bet it's been done before, but we did it our way, and like I said, that tasty gold with the Liberty Bell and that ochre yellow color on the secondary packaging is perfect.
We should do it with the actual Liberty Bell.
Oh yeah, totally. They'll let us do that.
Let's do it.
Yeah, sure.
Love
Let's write
it.
a letter.
Let's write a letter.
Sure.
Dear Philadelphia.
How hard can it be to?
How
drink
many signatures
beer
do we need on this
out
petition?
of the
Like
Liberty
7. Probably only 7.
Yeah, well, we got
I think
6 of us
7.
here.
So we're good.
Bell? 7's a good
So
number.
we need 1 volunteer. We're good.
So it's really not fair to everyone who's listening to this, but in looking at the can also, Bobby described it so well in terms of his muse, his inspiration. But I think it's awesome that the crack in the Liberty Bell lines up with the cuts in the snake. So there's a synergistic effect between how the snake is interacting with this static Liberty Bell full of beer. It's a cool
Almost
thing.
like he was like protecting the beer. Someone was trying to steal it and had a sword and like cut him in half.
And then he was
cracked
terribly
the
injured?
bell.
Yeah, do the lightning bolts
same
coming
time.
out of his mouth represent like the screams of pain and agony as he's cut
No,
into parts?
it's the scream of get the hell away from my beer.
Okay.
I think I could be wrong. That is actually how the crack got in the real Liberty Bell. There was a snake drinking beer out of it.
That sounds right, actually. That sounds right.
Also, what inspired Mr.
Props,
Franklin to make that illustration.
Yeah, I think that's totally right, actually.
This is.
I read that in school.
That might be one of the funniest things you ever said.
You need lemon juice in the back of the Declaration of Independence to find that story.
Yeah, it's an invisible ink. Invisible ink. Oh, man.
All right, Snake Scream. We got yet another beer name out
Snake
of this
Scream?
podcast.
Yeah.
Taken.
We're really good at
Triple
coming up with
bite,
Snake Scream.
quadruple
Boy,
bite.
that's good.
All taken.
Snake Scream. Holy crap, that's great.
I got 99 beer names, and all of them are taken.
Yeah.
I got 99 beer names. Send a bitch ain't one.
I was so going to
If you
jump on
having
that.
beer problems, I feel bad for you, son.
You killed
There's
that.
probably a beer called I Got 99 Beer Names.
More than likely.
Yeah, probably.
This is absolutely delicious.
Bill,
I love it.
how many years did you say we were doing Liberty Bell Ringer?
Bobby, I think we're in year number 6. So again, it's always been an expression of how to use a new variety of hops and bring something exciting each year to Philly Beer Week in terms of the in terms of double IPA. And this year, going double dry hop, double IPA was a little bit over the top, a little bit over the hop, I guess we could say.
Hey.
Dip,
And,
up.
What? Wasn't this part of the Ranch series, though? This started as the Ranch series, right?
So, yeah, going back in time, we were doing a series called Ranch IPA, where we were doing a double IPA, and we were honoring the hop ranch that grew that specific variety, so single
remember that.
varietal.
So wet hop too?
And no, not wet hop.
No?
Not wet hop. And that led to some fantastic, not collaborations, combinations of hops that Ron and I applied to both Dirt Wolf and this product, the Liberty Bell Ringer. So we experiment for good reason. So all of you guinea pigs enjoying this stuff, thank you for being part of the process.
And each year there was a different hop edition, correct?
So that's been the story on Liberty Bell Ringer. Whereas Ranch was a different hop with each iteration, honoring the family grower, the
I
ranch.
bought so many growlers of that stuff. It was incredible.
It's
That's
really
my
cool
jam
to
right
see,
there.
when these new varieties of hops come out, some of them get a lot of buzz amongst brewers, but, somebody has to make the beer that's going to showcase that hop that's going to, strike a chord with consumers and turn it into the next Citra,
Idaho. No,
Yeah.
Idaho.
Hey.
That didn't make sense. Sorry I said that. That can be edited out, right?
No.
Definitely not. I have lost the ability to edit.
That's actually the subtitle of our podcast. Beer Busters. That can be edited out, right?
I apologize. That was ridiculous.
The sequel is Beer Busters. Edit point.
Edit point. All right, so we're all getting a little silly.
Just a tad.
Should we wrap up the episode proper and do last call?
Yeah,
where
three of us have a punishment we have to get
silliness is the name of the game
I
in
cannot
last
wait
call.
to record this.
to. Oh, it's going to be filmed, too.
Is it? Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So
That's why we brought you on.
So you guys have a pretty exciting event coming up this summer in Parksburg, right? The Summer Love Fest?
Summer Love Fest.
Yes, yeah, we are very excited to do this. We have actually been doing Summer Love Fest for a number of years, but this year it really is emphasizing the music component. We've got 5 bands playing, and one of which is near and dear to my heart, the School of Rock Band. It's just so awesome to watch these guys kick out incredible music. We're going to have Alexandra K. March. We're going to have Joe Hillman Band, the Tommy Froelich Band, and Groove Merchants. And we've got the TLC Canine Rescue group coming in. And so this is on August the 17th. It runs from noon to 6 p.m. at our Parksburg Brewery. And you probably want to know about how to get involved, and that involves looking at our Facebook page, the Victory Beer Facebook page, where we have our ticket options. And it's a barbecue event, beer, obviously, lots of great music, and you'll see all your options there.
That sounds awesome.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Any other big events coming up?
Yes, pouring lots of summer love in all kinds of places close to home.
Such a good beer.
And summer is going to happen wherever you want it to happen. So in terms of events, we got this big blowout
in
called
my
Summer
living
Love
room with
Fest.
an air conditioner.
That is a
For
perfect
instance.
place to
For
enjoy summer.
instance.
For instance.
For instance.
But yeah, so to find out what cool Victory events are coming up, follow them on Facebook. You don't have to look far to find Victory.
Of course
not.
not.
You guys are all
Just
over the
search
place.
Victory Beer. That's what they are everywhere.
You guys have, 4 locations now? So am I?
So we are 3 here in Chester County. The Victory
Right.
Beer Hall in Philadelphia, which is a really proud accomplishment of ours.
Right.
Every time I go to Xfinity Live, I have to go to Victory.
Of
It
course.
is a non-negotiable thing.
So I got shut out of the Rolling Stone show this past week, but I had a really good time at the Victory Beer Hall.
Yeah.
And it actually made up for a lot of the pain.
Good, good.
I had a really good time.
I saw Jeff Lynn's ELO a couple of weeks ago, and I had to get a Victory beer before I went.
Oh,
out.
ELO, nice. That's
I took Rich to
awesome.
see Ariana Grande, and we went to the Victory Beer Hall first.
Yeah.
You don't know
She put
how.
on a
Thank
good
you
show,
next.
Actually, yes.
I was
You don't
stoked
know
to
how
see the hot
happy I
dog
am.
On the wall.
Thank you, next beer.
Yeah.
To know that there's Victory Beer.
Whoa, there you go.
Speaking of
Slow pour.
Slow pours have just come onto
Hello.
the table. Thank you, Kelly.
Okay, so
Kelly is a
So
goddess.
we said this in an outtake, but Kelly gets super duper awesome props for everything with this because she organized a
helpful.
lot of this, has brought us a lot of the
Look
things
at
that we've
those
had,
things.
including these wonderful looking slow pour pilsners that just look absolutely incredible.
We do not print
How is
your
that even a
image
real beer?
on the head of the beer. It's that frothy.
wow, that's pretty awesome.
I think
Foam dome.
It might be 3 inches almost.
Probably, yeah. It looks like
And so, again, I invented this style. This was something I came up with. So,
Really? Wow.
So
That's
when you get
pretty
through the
amazing.
edits, this is something you should talk to me about. So
All right. We'll talk to you about that in last call.
makes
People
sense.
have to pay to
Yeah,
listen to that.
Probably. Yeah, I got a lot to say. I got a lot to say.
It seems like it.
I do.
but yeah, so
I'm getting
so-
wordy now.
Search the internet, your
Find-
search engine of choice
find Victory Online.
for Victory Beer, social media and all. You've had Victory Beer.
Yeah,
you
you guys-
know you love it. There's
guys-
no
Duh.
You guys
question
know these
about
people.
that.
We don't have to give people your Instagram handle. You can find them.
Yeah,
They're there.
obviously we've recorded a lot of episodes at up and coming breweries, and promotion always helps them. But Victory is such a well known and well loved brand in this area. And what did you say? 35 states
35
and
states.
5 countries, right?
Yeah, you got your
So-
facts. Right.
Yeah, you're international.
He wrote that one down too.
I did. Right after you said it, I wrote it down.
You guys do an awful lot of ball busting for roommates. I'm glad I'm
beer
not
busters.
We're
living
also
in the same
brothers.
home.
Also
we're, all,
brothers.
Yeah.
we're also brothers.
Yeah,
So,
we've had this dynamic for 32 years.
yeah.
Because I'm the younger one.
I'll let you. Oh, I was going to say I'll let you guess which one's younger.
So how many years have you guys been brothers?
32.
Welcome to
Weird.
the podcast.
Isn't that weird? Like the same number. That's strange.
I know, right?
That makes no sense.
You can find Beer Busters online at Beerbusters on Instagram, and I just want to get the last
Doesn't that
call
up?
because we have a lot of
I know.
we
There's
have
so
a lot
much.
of
There's so much.
we have a lot of last
Thanks
call
for
energy
listening, guys.
going right now, and I want that energy to go into last
Yes,
call.
at Beerbusters, Twitter and Instagram, Beerbusters Podcast on Facebook, beerbusterspodcast.com, patreon.com/beerbusters. That's
Yeah.
the one.
They're Google Beer Busters. You
Go,
can- I mean,
yeah, it's $1 a month gets
I
you
mean,
into the
I don't want
next
to brag,
segment.
but we're pretty easy to find too.
Kind of.
We are the best beer.
We're not the
podcast
ones
ever.
that are in Europe that have the trademarked logo that they rip off.
They're in the Czech
Is
Republic
that
or something.
Busta with an A?
Yeah,
Is
Beer
versus
Buster.
ER?
Should be.
That's only after dark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
the
God.
button,
I
hit the
know.
button,
I
hit the
know.
button,
I
hit the
wanted to
button.
prolong it because I've had so much fun. But
Thanks so much for having us here. This, unfortunately, my friends, brings us to the end of another episode.
Wait, we've got
of
40 seconds.
Beer
Just we got to let it. We got to
It's
let
been
it.
a lot of fun.
It really has.
We're ending with slow pour pills.
And that will happen in last call.
Pills
It's so I'm not gonna lie when I say this. It's been a goal of mine to get literally anyone on the show from Victory, but to be invited here, such hospitality, and to have such great guests, and of course, Bill, you're half the formula behind Victory in the first place.
You're also kind of a celebrity.
You
Bill,
are.
Let's be honest.
And we
Bill.
can't
Whoa.
thank you enough for
You
this.
really are.
I feel like half a celebrity, so
Half a
Ron is here in spirit.
fair.
Well, I'm Dan Baker. That's Steph. That's Wayne. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Later.
Cheers.
Those fucking monkeys.
You only had a taster.